Good evening, I'm Nigel, your presenter and commentator for this evening's Gladiators TV match, Cab Direct Championship battle between the Plymouth Gladiators and the Scunthorpe Scorpions here at the Coliseum. Scorpions managed a big victory over the Gladiators in the corresponding fixture last night up in Lincolnshire, beating the Gladiators by 62 points to 28. So there's a big mountain to climb for Garry May's men this evening if they're going to not only win the match but try and claim that aggregate bonus point as well to try and climb off the bottom of the Cab Direct Championship table. Plymouth has still got an outside chance of making those playoffs. They've got matches in hand on the teams above them. Scunthorpe are safely placed in second place in the table behind Poole, and they'll be looking to consolidate that second place here this evening. Scunthorpe have named a full strength side from the team that raced last night. Plymouth have got Baek in making his home debut. He failed to score last night, but he'll be looking to make an impression around the Coliseum this evening. They've also got a guest in for Nico Cavati. It's Paul Zach Cook, a former Gladiator, who's coming in to fill the number one slot tonight. So all to play for both sides this evening in this championship match. Let's hand you across to Joe in the pits, who's got some reaction from the riders.
Patrick, welcome to the Plymouth Gladiators.
Thank you. Fresh
to British Speedway. How good is it to be in British Speedway finally in the championship?
I'm very happy to be here and very happy for the chance. It's a big challenge. I think we saw that yesterday, and I think that it can only get better from here.
Because yesterday wasn't, of course, your first meeting in Britain. You rode in Ulrich Østergaard's farewell at Peterborough.
Yeah.
Just explain how that experience was and why that gave you the hunger to come to Britain and ride in League Speedway.
I was so lucky to get in this meeting last year with Ulrich. And ever since that day, I felt like it was really nice over here. And
coming in last night at Scunthorpe, obviously tricky night for the team, big loss on the road. What was your experience of those three rides you got in the championship? And Scunthorpe as a track, and obviously it's totally different to what we'll be going on to tonight.
I think really the track really surprised me and also the other boys.
And what are your first impressions of the Coliseum as a race circuit? Obviously, we'll see you in just over an hour's time. What's your impressions of the track?
I've been here practicing for a few weeks ago, and I think it'll be okay. It's a bit small, but also when you get the hang of it, it'll be okay, I think.
And what can we expect to see from Patrick Baek over the next month or so for the Gladiators? What are we as supporters going to see from Patrick Baek, the rider?
I'll give it all that I got. My best that I got. I got my best equipment here and everything, so I'm really happy for the chance, and I will take it 100%.
Lovely. Well, welcome to the club, Patrick, and all the very best tonight.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Simon, welcome back to sunny Devon. Season's going quite well for the Scorpions and yourself, obviously, as a team. Just your reflections as we enter the final month of the league campaign.
Yeah, obviously we're sitting quite high at the top of, towards the top of the league, and that's good. But obviously we had a good result against you guys last night. But you know, Speedway, in all fairness to Plymouth, the racing was a hell of a lot better than the score. You know, that's Speedway for you. You know, we went to Poole the other week and we scored about what you guys scored last night, and that was a true reflection, whereas last night wasn't. So yeah, it was a good 15 each, a little bit dusty at the end, but yeah, some cracking racing, and but at the same time we did show what a dominant force we are at home. So.
And obviously the Eddie Wright Raceway is totally different to the Coliseum. There's a few lads in that pits for you guys who have notable experience riding around here. You go well yourself around here on a few occasions. Just how do you reckon last night's result will compare to tonight? Because obviously it is a totally different test.
Oh, listen, everywhere's different to this place, you know. It's like a dustbin lid, isn't it? But it's a unique little place, this, you know. I've had some good meetings here, I've had some stinkers here, so it's one of them, you just got to have your gating gloves and a bit between your teeth a bit, really, arms and legs out, and just see what happens, really. It's I always say you have to come here and you either got to have the mindset to kill or to be killed. It's simple as that. So yeah, but you know, just like I say, get out the starts, get in front. It's a little bit easier then.
And the mood in the camp must be so high. Obviously, that wonderful run you're on at home, you're picking up points on the road as well. You're bang there at the top of the table fighting with Poole. As we approach this final month, before we get to the playoffs, is finishing top the aim, or is it just try and get as best a run into the playoffs as you can get now?
I don't really think it matters where we finish. Let's be realistic, you know. we've said if Poole go and win every match this year, fair enough. Like, hopefully we'll be the ones that we've only got to beat them once at home and run them tight away, get the bonus point and league title. So it is what it is. But we're not worried what they do. We're just concentrating on us. You know, they're sort of guaranteed playoffs already, similar to ourselves. But we're not taking a foot off the gas. We've got to keep going. And of course, you know, we want to sit as high as we can. And who we get in the playoffs, we're not fazed by for sure. Obviously disappointing, a bit of a reality check, like I said, you know, at Poole a couple of weeks back now. But listen, like I say, we had 7 good horses that night, but 7 bad jockeys. Simple as that. You know, let's be realistic about it. We all had a bad night, and the better team won, and that's how it goes sometimes. So, yeah, like I say, we just got to keep pushing and just keep doing what we're doing and keep enjoying it. But yeah, morale's good in the camp, and but like I say, the season kind of starts now, really, because you know. We don't want to be that nearly team, like, you know what I mean? Scunny's always been that team that's never been very good away and never done this and just made it or just fell short. But this year, we're there and we want to stay there for sure. So, yeah, like I say, morale's good, and you know, Rob and Dave put a good team together, and we want to pay them back and the faith and the fans, of course, as well, and all our sponsors. So. Yeah, we just got to keep doing what we're doing and concentrate on that. Obviously, we've got BSN semi-final with Edinburgh as well. So, we you know, the chance of us beating Poole in the Cup, let's be realistic, are quite slim. But it's not over till it's over. But we could still win 3 trophies. We could still get the treble, you know. If we got the double, great. If we've got to win something this year, I believe, you know, and I think we're destined to do that for sure.
Well, let's hope for a good, clean, safe meeting tonight and all the very best for the rest of the season.
Good man. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Joe. Let's look at the 2 lineups for this evening's meeting. Plymouth Gladiators, they've got Zach Cook guesting at number 1, the Poole Pirate coming in for Nico Cavati, who looks set to be out for the rest of the season with a broken arm. Alfie BOWTELL is at number 2. Dan Thompson, who had a heavy fall at Scunthorpe last night, is fit to ride. He's at number 3. At number 4 is Plymouth's new signing, making his home debut, Danish 22-year-old Patrick Baek. Baek, is at number 4. Ben Barker skippers the side at number 5, and at number 6 and 7 are Joe Thompson and Jacob Hook, who both scored well up at Scunthorpe last night. The team manager, Garry May. Scunthorpe, where they're led by a former Plymouth rider at number 1 in Michael Palm Toft. They're skippered at number 2 by Simon Lambert. At 3 is Jake Allen. 4 is Connor Mountain. 5 is Carl Howarth, who skippered the Gladiators last season. Nathan Ablitt is at 6. Luke Harrison is at 7, and their team manager is David Howe. Very good evening. Very good evening. Welcome to you all to Gladiators TV for this championship match between Plymouth and Scunthorpe. Delighted to be joined by Joe this evening, my summariser, co-commentator, and it's lovely to have a dry, sunny evening. We're not having to look upwards at the sky, which has been quite a rarity, not just here this season, but at most speedway tracks.
Yeah, evening Nigel, evening everybody at home. Yes, it's a glorious evening in Devon, and as you say, we're blessed to have it. It's been a lovely week. Of course, you're always a little bit wary when the weekdays are so nice. Is the weekend going to be the same? But it really has been beautiful down here today, and the track's in really good shape. Mark's put plenty of water down today to prepare it for tonight, and I'm sure it will provide some good, safe racing, which is what we all want to see.
Don't you just love Simon Lambert? I love his honesty. The description of what happened at Poole. 7 great horses, 7 bad jockeys, but he wears his heart on his sleeve, but he's a great guy to listen to, and he talks a lot of sense, doesn't he?
He certainly does. I like the analogy of a dustbin lid. But yeah, Simon's a great interviewer, and he's been a good stalwart to Scunthorpe now. 2019 was when he rejoined the club, and he's really doing his bit to help them in this. What is a brilliant season the Scorpions are having. I mean, it's quite superb. Unbeaten at home, they're picking up results away, and they're set for another good night tonight. Plenty of experience of this track in there with, as you mentioned, ex-captain Kyle Howarth returning for the first time tonight, or second time tonight after leaving the club at the end of last season. Michael Palm Toft obviously has ridden here a couple of times as well, and plenty of these lads go around. I always enjoyed watching Jake Allen, come around this track. You know, I've been a huge fan of Jake's now for a couple of years. In the winter, when we draw up our predicted lineups, I always want to try and get Jake Allen into the team because of his experience. But look, you know, we've got as strong a team as we can possibly put out, and that's all we can ask for. And you know, Zach Cook rode particularly well here when me and you were last on commentary against Baek when he guested for them, and you know, he'll be looking himself for vital track knowledge ahead of Pool's visit in a couple of weeks here, so he'll be looking at setups and things for that meeting and what he can pass on to the team. But it's a big night, isn't it, for both teams, I think. Yeah,
Zach was just in camera there. There's Michael Palm Toft, a former Plymouth rider. He's had his injury problems, that recently re-signed for Birmingham Brummies in the Premiership. He's dropped to reserve. Not a bad man to have at reserve in a Premiership side. It's and there's that man you're just talking about, Jake Allen. As he said, he's always good fun to watch, particularly around the Coliseum here. And Nathan Ablitt just in the background there chatting to his mechanics. But yeah, they look a solid side, don't they, Scunthorpe? 1-7. It's no surprise really that they're sitting in the top 2 in the table at the moment.
Yeah, they're a very well built side. I mean, if you look at the fact that Michael Palmtoft's on a 7.5, Howarth 7.3, Jake Allen a 7.3 exactly, and then you've got a couple of riders in there on high 5s. You know, it is a very well put together team, and Rob Godfrey and David Howe deserve an immense amount of credit for building such a strong team. And you know, we wish them all the best in the playoffs. It's a little bit tricky for the Gladiators to get there now, although we're going to give it everything we've got. But we wish them all the very best after tonight's proceedings.
That was Patrick Baek we were just looking at in camera shot there, Plymouth's new signing, and that's an interesting team change for the Gladiators. Carl Newman had an up and down season. I'm sure he'd be the first to admit that. He's had some really good meetings here. Away has been a bit of a struggle for him at times, and as he said this week, the lack of meetings I think has been a big problem for him. But maybe with an eye to 2025, Mark Phillips has decided to make this change, bring in this 22-year-old Danish rider Patrick Baek, and it'll be very interesting to see how he copes with the Coliseum tonight.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head as to Kyle's struggles really. It was never for a want of trying or a want of effort. He was the one out of everybody in this side who struggled the most with the lack of fixtures and how little continuity there's been in the fixture list. And look, that's nobody's fault. Nobody's to blame for that. It's just the way the fixtures are panned out. You know, we started the season obviously in very wet conditions, and we're now at the back end of the season when we've got almost perfect speedway conditions. But you are right, it'll be interesting to see how Patrick goes. It was interesting to hear that he's done plenty of laps of the place. And you know, when that green light comes on in heat number 3, it will be really interesting to see, because one of the things, if you do your research on Patrick Baek, is how good out of the gate he is. And they say in football, possession's 9/10 of the law. Around the Coliseum, gating is 9/10 of the law.
Yes, definitely. There's Ben Barker, the Gladiators skipper. He was engaged in quite a humorous-looking conversation with the referee Gary Allen before the meeting, and I think the whole Gladiators team are having a bit of fun with him. But obviously I'm not party to what they were saying, but it all seemed good-natured and plenty of laughs going on. Just waiting for the coin toss to take place. The two skippers, Simon Lambert and Ben Barker, have just shaken hands. The toss has taken place, and
so Plymouth have won the coin toss and will take gates 1 and 3. So
Plymouth have won the coin toss, I think I heard correctly there, so they've chosen gates 1 and 3, and that means Scunthorpe will have choice of gates in heat 15. So first bit of good news for the Gladiators.
It's a moral victory. You've got to take these moral victories when they come our way, but I'm always one who favours the Heat 15 gate choice personally, because it just gives you an idea of where's best as the meeting goes on. But look, Ben's probably happy to win a coin toss, and he's glad to have that choice.
Just going through the Gladiators lineup here, we've had Luke Harrison and Nathan Ablitt at reserve. Carl Howarth, of course, skipper here last season, popular rider who made the winter move to Scunthorpe. Connor Mountain
Quick word for Connor for his guest appearance at Baek earlier in the season.
Outstanding.
Absolutely superb to come in and ride at #1 on the road and put in such an effort. I think it's 13, paid 14, wasn't it? And absolutely superb. And it helped us to keep that meeting tight to then bring it down here to get the bonus point, what, three and a bit weeks ago maybe?
Jake Allen, Simon Lambert and former Plymouth rider Michael Toft completing the line-up for Scunthorpe. Jacob Hook at number 7 alongside him, Joe Thompson. Those two did really well at reserve up at Scunthorpe last night. Got paid 20, I think, between them.
Wouldn't mind same again tonight, would
Yeah.
we? We'd also like the rest of the team to chip in as best as we can. But, you know, we're really excited to see how Patrick goes, and he gets a warm reception there from the Gladiators faithful, and you just fingers crossed that it works out for the kid.
Yeah, he's ridden for Grudziads in the Polish under-24 Extra Liga. He's riding for Masana in the Allsvenskan League in Sweden. So certainly getting around the international scene as the riders go around on their warm-up lap. As I said, it was a thumping victory last night for Scunthorpe, but as Simon Lambert alluded to there, that doesn't mean a lot coming into this track. Is so different, isn't it?
No, and it was interesting to hear Simon say that it wasn't a true reflection of how the night went. If you read what people who went to the meeting said, if you read the forums, you know, a couple of the lads I know went up last night and they've all come back and said exactly the same thing. Scunthorpe were excellent, but equally our riders were on the pace. It was just a case that Scunthorpe were better around their home track, and you get that in Speedway. That's why the home advantage is so key. And it probably won't have too much of a bearing on tonight's fixture because, as I mentioned to Simon, the Eddie Wright Raceway is totally different to the Plymouth Coliseum. You know, tonight's a totally different fixture. And I think for Garry May and the boys now, it's simply about looking at just winning fixtures. Winning fixtures and take as much momentum into the winter and then into next season as they can. And for Scunthorpe, look, you know, the likelihood is they'll get the bonus points at least tonight unless something drastic happens. So for them, it's almost been a perfect weekend as they try and cement their place in the playoff picture.
Plymouth have still got an outside chance of the playoffs. It would be quite an incredible set of results, I think, to get in there, but they've ridden less meetings than everyone else, so they have got those matches in hand. Of course, Scunthorpe have been to the Coliseum this season in the Knockout Cup. Again, they were defending a huge first leg lead going into that one, and they went down here 51-39. At least Plymouth restoring some pride in that fixture, but unlike that one where they would have been okay losing, and because they almost certainly had already qualified given the size of the home leg, tonight they'll be looking for those 2 points to go with the bonus point, won't they? So they're certainly going to be in a different mindset. Yeah,
I mean, for Scunthorpe coming into tonight, they're almost, you know, I don't want to sound negative, but it would take such a huge turn of results that they're probably destined for 3 out of a maximum 5 points from the weekend. You know, Gary, just talking to Zach Cook there's only one thing in Garry May's mind: get to 46 as quickly as he can, and then how much of that lead can we erode into? And look, we've got a really strong reserve pairing in heat number 2 who go particularly well as a pair around here. And who knows in heat number 1? You know, if Plymouth can get off to a good start, I know it's a big lead to eradicate, but the nerves will start to set in, and it's every little bit that Garry and the team can chip away will just help them as the night goes on.
Yeah, the reserves I think are going to be particularly crucial tonight, as is the form of Patrick Baek on his debut, but we shall see as the meeting goes on. Just to run through last night's scores, Carl Howarth got a 15-point maximum for Scunthorpe, and he was solid support throughout the team really, with Connor Mountain getting 11, then there was 8 from Luke Harrison, Michael Toft, Simon Lambert and Jake Allen, and 4 from Nathan Ablitt. Plymouth, well, they had Joe Thompson scoring heavily with 9, backed up by Jacob Hook with 7, and then it was Dan Thompson with 5, Alfie BOWTELL picked up 2, and there was 1 for Patrick Baek and Ben Barker. I haven't written his score down. I think he got about 4, didn't he, last night?
4 or 5, I think it was for Ben,
so apologies to Ben. Just trying to let you see a sponsors video coming up. To all those sponsors of the Gladiators team. So just to let you know, tonight we're short-handed on the camera front. Paul's going to be a very busy boy operating all the cameras tonight, so we'll still hope to bring you some top-notch coverage, but just to let you know, we've just one camera down tonight, so I'm sure Paul will do an excellent job as usual. We're about to get underway for heat number 1 here at the Coliseum. The track was heavily watered a little while ago, and it shows how hot it is. It's soaked in very quickly, so Ben Barker just out encouraging his 2 reserves as they come round to the tapes, and this should be 2 not reserves, beg your pardon, Zach Cook and Alfie BOWTELL coming out for heat number 1.
What an insult to the pair of them.
I know, sorry. I'm jumping ahead to heat 2. Here's the lineup. In gate 1 in blue is Alfie BOWTELL for the Gladiators. Gate 2, that man we were hearing from, Simon Lambert. In yellow for the Scorpions. It's Zach Cook, the guest tonight, for Nico Cavati in red. In gate 3 for Plymouth. And in gate 4, former Gladiator rider Michael Palm Toft in white. So this should be quite a tasty first race.
Yeah, it certainly will. And you got riders like Alfie and Simon Lambert who always give absolutely everything to the cause, no matter who they're riding for. So it'll be interesting to see how the 2 boys go on the outside, given that the 2 boys on the inside aren't going to give an inch as they head into bend 1.
So the start marshal is getting the riders under orders here. And tapes up for heat 1. That's a great start for Alfie BOWTELL there. Being chased down the back straight by Michael Palm Toft and Simon Lambert. Palm Toft has a look at the outside, but BOWTELL manages to drift across and he leads over the start-finish line.
Yeah, really good start from Alfie. Made sure he got to bend 1 and got the bike in position, and he's looking really stylish out in front. Michael Palm Toft, as you say, has slotted into 2nd place. Little bit of a concern at the moment that Zach Cook so far off Simon Lambert at the back, but this is looking good for Alfie as Michael throws it up the inside.
That's a great overtake by Palm Toft there, cutting inside Alfie BOWTELL, and at the moment the Scorpions are on for a 4-2. Zach Cook, I don't think he's happy with his machinery at all at the back. He's a long way adrift, and BOWTELL now coming under pressure from Simon Lambert, but the Scorpions, it's going to be a 4-2 with Michael Palm Toft winning the race, BOWTELL 2nd and Simon Lambert 3rd, so it finished white, blue, yellow, and Zach Cook in red just coming over the start-finish line now.
You're a braver man than me to call that finish for 2nd and 3rd. I think that's got really tight. Simon Lambert was superb back in 3rd, not getting away from Alfie BOWTELL. But that's a really good start for Michael Palm Toft. It was a really good move to get round Alfie, but it's just been confirmed that Alfie did nick 2nd, so I apologise, Nigel. Your judgment was spot on. But it was a tight finish.
Yeah, it was. It was probably a bit tighter than I appreciated, but I was sort of confident that Alfie had held on for 2nd place, but that was a great start to the meeting there. White, the winner, Michael Palm Toft, 1st for the Scorpions, 2nd Alfie BOWTELL in 2nd for the Gladiators, 3rd Simon Lambert in yellow for the Scorpions, and Zach Cook, who's a long way out the back, in 4th for the Gladiators. 4-2 to the Scorpions. The time in that one was 52.65. And here we go with the reserves race, which I was trying to skip ahead to a minute ago, with Joe Thompson, Jacob Hook out against Nathan Ablitt and Luke Harrison.
And if the task wasn't difficult already, Michael Palm Toft has just made it that little bit harder, isn't he, with that brilliant move to get round Alfie BOWTELL. You know, that there is clearly that's a good sign, I think, that we've got overtaking so early in the fixture.
Let's look at the lineup for this one. It's Nathan Ablitt, the former pool rider, coming off gate 1 in white for Scunthorpe. Gate 2, Joe Thompson in red for the Gladiators. Gate 3, Luke Harrison, who's in yellow for the Scorpions, and in gate 4, Jacob Hook in blue for the Gladiators. Zach Cook, just going back to that last race, he obviously had problems, didn't he? He was looking down at his bike very early on in that race, and as you say, ended up so far back at the end.
Yeah, he got squeezed out going into bend 1 there. Palm Toft from the outside, Lambert from gate 2. Lambert sort of moved out to the middle of the track. Lambert obviously came across from gate 4, and from there really Zach wasn't really sighted in the race, and he'll be frustrated by that. You know, Zach's a winner. He wants to go out and do his best, so I'm sure that we'll see a different Zach Cook in the next race.
So, riders getting ready for heat number 2. And we're underway. And that's a very good gate from Joe Thompson. Jacob Hook trying to follow him through. Nathan Ablitt, though, just getting in between them to stop Jacob Hook coming through to second place. But Joe Thompson also coming under pressure here from Nathan Ablitt. Ablitt trying to get underneath him, but Thompson just hanging on there.
Yeah, I think this is a good little race, because I think Jacob's got a bit of speed, but so's Nathan in second. Joe looking super stylish as he does in his first ride of the night. Here comes Jacob, though. He's not too far off Nathan Ablitt, and to be fair to young Luke Harrison, he's not too far off Jacob Hook either. He just lifted there coming out of bend 2. But this could be a fun final lap here as Jacob tries to get on Nathan.
Jacob Hook just slightly overcooking it there on the fourth bend, locking up a little bit and enabled Luke Harrison to close the gap on him. This rather ended his hopes of getting into second place, but was an attempt. And Nathan Ablitt has gone down on the final bend. He just picked up a little bit of grip there and has shot into the fence, and it's enabled Jacob Hook to come through to complete a 5-1. Thankfully, Nathan Ablitt is picking himself up. No harm done there, but he'll be gutted there because second place is in the bag for him, and just slightly overcooked it there.
And the thing for Nathan is that was such a good ride in second place as well, because he was really on the pace behind Joe Thompson. And as you say, it just looked like he picked up a little bit extra grip going into bend 4 there, and unfortunately he came off. But as you say, the best thing is he's up on his feet.
So the result is confirmed as Joe Thompson in red in first place, Jacob Hook in blue in second for the Gladiators. In third was Luke Harrison in yellow for the Scorpions, and of course Nathan Ablitt, a non-finished there in white. So the Gladiators hitting back from that 4-2 first heat score line with a 5-1, and it puts the Gladiators onto 7 and the Scorpions on 5. Let's just watch the start again here.
Yeah, you're going to see a really good start from Joe Thompson here off gate number 2. He really gets out, and it looked like from our commentary position here that Jacob Hook had also made a good one and might be able to fly around the outside. But this is where I think Nathan Ablitt's just a little bit intelligent, because he just starts to come off the inside there, and it just shuts the door for Jacob as they go into bend 3. And then really it's a case of after you, Claude, for all 3 of them in behind, because they all seem to get close to each other. It looks like we're going to have 2 races in one. But then Jacob starts to pick up speed and gets up towards the back of Nathan. Luke Harrison is never too far off Jacob Hook all the way through. And in a minute we'll see Jacob have a little moment himself where he squares up, almost trying too hard to get past Nathan Ablitt. I think it's coming up here on bend 3 and 4.
He has his moment almost in the same place that Nathan Ablitt.
It is. It's just here. He just locks the bike up, and that stops all of his momentum. And as you said in commentary, it looks then like we're just going to settle for a 4-2. And we're just going to see what happens to Nathan here as he comes into bend 3.
Almost an identical spot, isn't it, to what happened to...
It is, and he just comes down there. Thankfully, as you say, he gets up on his feet, and Jacob takes the second place. But, you know, it was... Nathan will be frustrated that he's come off there on bend 4, but equally he shouldn't be too disheartened, because he was right on the pace and he was putting pressure on Joe Thompson, and it is just looked like he's picked up that little bit extra grip off bend 4. But you know, all that matters is that he's on his feet and he lives to fight another day in, what is it, heat number 5 or heat number 6 he'll next be out in. So
yeah, no damage done to the fence, so it shouldn't be too long before we're underway with heat number 3, and Plymouth supporters who weren't at Scunthorpe will get their first chance to have a look at Patrick Baek, the new signing, Danish 22-year-old. It's recommended to the club, I believe, by Bjarne Pedersen, a former Plymouth rider. And it's going to be really interesting to see how he tackles this. He'll be coming off, he'll be coming off gate 1, so he'll probably be quite pleased about that for his first ride.
Yes, yeah, you don't want to be posted too far wide on your first time round the track, do you? And as you say, it was a tough introduction to British Speedway last night. It was tough for all the riders. You know, it's not just limited to Patrick. It was a tough, sort of soul-searching night for the Gladiators on the road, but this is a chance to make amends and, as I say, just get another win on the board.
Stronger sides than Plymouth have come a cropper at Scunthorpe before, so let's look at the lineup for heat number 3. In blue in gate 1, as I said, Patrick Baek making his home debut for Plymouth. In gate 2 in white for the Scorpions, it's Jake Allen. Gate 3, Dan Thompson, who's in good form this season. He's in red for the Gladiators. And then the outside gate, Connor Mountain, as Joe mentioned before, a fabulous guest for the Gladiators earlier in the season at Baek. He's in yellow off gate 4. And, well, you talked about Patrick Baek being a good gator, and that's what he'll be looking to do here, coming off trap 1.
Keep your eyes on gates 2 and 3 here as well. Jake Allen up against Dan Thompson. This, you know, 2 riders. We know how well Dan's been going around here this season, and we know how well that Jake's gone round in the past. So you know, the two lads on the inside and outside will certainly have their own battles, but this could be a really fun Ben 1 because all 4 riders here will be keen to make an impression early in the meeting.
So all eyes will be on Patrick Baek here in blue. Start Marshall walks away, and we're off, and that's a great gate from Patrick Baek. That's just what he would have wanted. He's got a threat coming around the outside from Connor Mountain, but Patrick Baek leading on this first lap, and that's fabulous to see from a Plymouth point of view.
It certainly is, and he's just slowing out there. Connor Mountain's trying to get through him. He's just trying to go high and wide around the outside, but it's a really good move from Connor Mountain. Jake Allen looked to have a few little issues as he goes into bend 3 and 4 on that first lap. He seemed to lose all his momentum, but Connor Mountain's out and gone here out in front. Patrick Baek just a little bit tentative, perhaps in second place. Jake Allen lifting violently at the back, but Connor Mountain's away and checked out here.
Jake Allen, just slipping into the fence on that 3rd and 4th bend, and Dan Thompson has come underneath Patrick Baek now. He's obviously still getting used to the track, but it's going to be a 3-3 drawn heat here with Connor Mountain in yellow crossing the start line first. It's Dan Thompson, Patrick Baek, and then Jake Allen. So it's yellow, red, blue and white. Patrick Baek gating brilliantly, but still getting used to the track. He was always going to be a little bit vulnerable there.
Yeah, we had all sorts going on there, didn't we? It was all sorts of things going on for all 4 riders, really. As you say, Patrick was electric at the start, and it was a really good gate. But Jake Allen had all sorts of problems at various points.
Connor Mountain confirmed as the winner in yellow, with 3 points to the Scorpions. Dan Thompson second in red for the Gladiators. His teammate Patrick Baek third in blue, and Jake Allen, who had all sorts of issues at the back with his bike and ending up drifting into the fence, coming in 4th. So it ended up at 3-3, making it 10 points to 8 to the Gladiators.
There I was saying keep an eye on gates 2 and 3, and it was gates 1 and 4 that were electric out at the start. And you're going to see Jake Allen just slot into 3rd place here, and as he goes into bend 3, he just seems to lose all momentum and ended up going really wide. That allowed Dan Thompson up the inside. That's where Connor Mountain got through against Patrick Baek, and as I said, he's just a little bit tentative going into the corners at the moment, and the problem with this is then he's just slowing Dan down a little bit, and Dan's itching to get past the set after Connor Mountain. He eventually gets through in a second. Jake Allen starts to bridge the gap on the 2 Gladiators riders, but then lifts violently coming off bend 2 there. This is, I think, where Dan's going to get through on Patrick. Meanwhile, at the back, Jake Allen clatters into the air fence again. Thankfully, he keeps going on the bike and is safe. But meanwhile, while all this is going on in behind him, Connor Mountain super stylish out in front, and nearly 2.5 seconds quicker than Joe Thompson's heat in the last race. Connor will be really pleased with that start.
Certainly will. 53.61 was the time for Connor Mountain. Heat 4 coming up rapidly, and here we've got skipper Ben Barker out for the Gladiators, and going to be very interesting up against last season's skipper Kyle Howarth for the Scorpions. So this should be a cracking little battle here. In blue for the Gladiators is Jacob Hook in gate number 1. In yellow in gate number 2 is Luke Harrison, making his second outing of the evening. Ben Barker in red off gate 3 for Plymouth, and that man Kyle Howarth off in white off gate 4 for the Scorpions. And of course he got a 15-point maximum last night against the Gladiators, so Plymouth will be certainly hoping he doesn't pick up where he left off last night.
It's almost like showing you what you're missing, isn't it, from Kyle last night? Yeah, he's a superb rider, isn't he? He's been a stalwart for British Speedway this year. I'm glad he had such a successful testimonial earlier on in the campaign, and I'm sure he's going to want to prove a point around his former home track here.
Here we go for heat number 4, 10 points to 8 to the Gladiators, and that's a great gate from the Plymouth duo of Barker and Hook. Howarth tried to come around the outside, he's got around Hook. Can he catch Ben Barker? Barker just staying ahead at the moment. Carl Howarth tucked into second place.
Yeah, it was a really good gate by all 3 of them, wasn't it? Barker, Howarth and Hook. Luke Harrison just struggling a little bit at the back. He's going to try and bring the gap on Jacob Hook now. He's throwing the kitchen sink. They're trying to get past Carl Howarth. Meanwhile, out in front, very quietly going about his business, Ben Barker is looking really stylish out in front here. Carl can't really make an impression. Perhaps the race is now at the back for 3rd place.
Yeah, Barker opening that lead out from Kyle Howarth. It's Jacob Hook coming under a bit of pressure here from Luke Harrison, but he should be able to hang on for 3rd place And it's a heat win for Ben Baek. He'll be delighted with that one. Carl Howarth second, Jacob Hook third, and Luke Harrison finishes red, white, blue and yellow. And Ben Baek off to the start he would have wanted.
Yeah, definitely is. And, you know, Ben's had plenty of troubles, hasn't he, with injuries lately, but that's probably as stylish as Ben's looked for a little while, particularly around the Coliseum. And actually, that was tantalisingly close to the track record, just 0.3 of a second off it.
Yeah.
Ben will be delighted with that performance.
52.3. Of course, it was against Scunthorpe in the Cup that he set the track record earlier in the season. Ben Baek confirmed in first place in red for the Gladiators. Second, Carl Howarth in white for the Scorpions. Third, Jacob Hook in blue for Plymouth. And fourth, Luke Harrison for the Scorpions in yellow. So 4-2 heat advantage. 14 points to 10 to the Gladiators. So making a good start here. They're still way behind on aggregate, but I don't think we have to worry too much about that.
Well, we'll worry about it for as long as the fat lady's still clearing her throat, but here we go at the start, and you're going to see really good from Ben Baek off gate number 3 here. Tapes will fly up, and he just knows where to put the bike. Jacob Hook makes a decent start off gate number 1. He just gets done by Carl Howarth going around the outside. Now this is where it gets interesting, because at this point you'd think that Kyle's going to set after Ben, but just as the race starts to open up, Ben just opens up his throttle just that little bit more, and he just gradually starts to pull away. Then your eyes are drawn to the battle at the back. And to be fair to young Luke Harrison, I said that he would, you know, he gave it a good go trying to get past Jacob in heat number 2. He gives it another good go here, and Jacob just managed to do enough to keep him at bay. But, you know, I know he's 1 point from 2 rides. Luke Harrison can't be too discouraged with how he started this meeting, because he has been right on the pace with Jacob Hook. And all you've got to do as a young rider is match the identical rider from the other team with your performances, and I think he's started to do that well so far.
Sure. Ben Baek just in conversation with Patrick Baek there, but we're just having a track grade here at the moment, so there'll be a little bit of a delay before we get underway with heat number 5. But there's Dan Thompson just sitting down, just contemplating his next race. Of course, he's out in the next race with Patrick Baek, so that'll be let's look at the gate stats. So, well, gate 1 not been great. I mean, Patrick Baek certainly gated brilliantly out of gate 1, didn't win it from there, but we had 2 off gate 4, 1 off gate 3 and 1 off gate 2, 50% of the heat wins, and 10 points also coming from that outside gate as well. There's Kyle Howarth, who, as I said, great form last night. Ben Baek just outgated him there, and he was away, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, Ben just kept getting further and further away from Kyle. But, you know, touching on Kyle, he never stopped last year, never stopped trying, was always trying his damnedest to get the team results. And was, you know, he was a brilliant captain for us in what ended up being another tough season for Garry and Mark. But we just see a couple of the Scunthorpe lads just making little tweaks to their bikes. Connor Mountain there. There's Michael Toft sat down, just chilling out.
He'll have been delighted with his first outing. A good heat win in race number 1.
Yeah, I mean, Michael has had a bit of a checkered past around the Coliseum, hasn't he? Even when he was a Plymouth rider, and you know, he'll be delighted to come down here, first ride, get out there, get it done. And also, I keep going back to it, to make an overtake in heat number 1. A lot's made that, you know, it's all about gating here, and I mentioned it earlier, it's, you know, in inverted commas, 9/10 of the law. But to see somebody like Michael Toft have the speed and the ability to get round the outside in heat number 1 is only going to be a positive as the night goes on, and hopefully this track grade will just help us out a little bit more in getting some really good entertaining racing, which as fans is all we want to see.
That was Simon Lambert, the Scorpion skipper there, in contemplative mood. He's out in this next one as well. He's just cleaning his getting all the dirt out of his grip on his wheels there.
I thought Simon spoke really well about Scunthorpe's season and how they're looking at the next few weeks. You know, if Poole are going to win every one of their meetings, they know it's impossible to catch them, but equally they've got their own task to fulfill, and as many points and wins as they can pick up, then it's great. And you know, they've had such a strong season, haven't they? Particularly at the Eddie Wright Raceway. They've been so strong, and they've been able to pick up wins on the road. And as we said earlier, there's just such an all-round side. And for David Howe in his first season in the job as Scunthorpe's team manager, he must be absolutely delighted with how it's gone. And you know, if it doesn't work out for them this year, they'll be a tough nut to crack in the playoffs. We've already seen teams go there and struggle. and I think they've got Poole coming up in a couple of weeks up at the Eddie Wright Raceway, which will be a really good fixture for both teams to pit themselves against the strongest opposition in the league. If it doesn't go so well, they've got such a good foundation to build on for next year.
That result a couple of weeks ago at Wimborne Road was quite uncharacteristic. They're a very strong side at Wimborne Road. I mean, they did really well there in the playoff, league playoff, and the cup last season. Of course, they went on and won the cup. They're actually at Poole this coming Wednesday, so in the league. So that's going to be interesting, and I'd be amazed if Poole win that as comfortably as they did the cup game. But Poole at the moment riding high with 25 points at the top of the table. They've had 11 matches. Scunthorpe have had 12 matches with 20. We're just going to stop for a sponsors video a sec. So yes, I was just running through the table. They're Poole with 25, Scunthorpe with 20 from 12 matches. Then it's Oxford on 16. They've only had 9 matches. Redcar currently fill the 4th playoff place, 13 matches, 13 points. And then it's Workington, 12 matches, 12 points. Moving down, Glasgow 11, Edinburgh 10, Baek 9 and Plymouth 8. But Plymouth have only had 9 meetings at the moment. So Plymouth are, 5 points off the playoff places with 4 matches in hand. But it's a big night elsewhere tonight, isn't it? Workington have got Redcar and Berwick have got Oxford. So the results tonight are going to probably transform how that table looks.
Yeah, I think we already know the Workington result. I'm going to have to try and get it up on my phone as we
Of course, that would have been an earlier, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You know, there is still a chance of Plymouth making the playoffs, and we have to remember that the two of the away fixtures, or the 3 away fixtures they've got left, are against Oxford, who we haven't had a fixture against yet. So Wednesday night is important to try and keep it as tight as we can, albeit up against what is probably the best 1 and 5 in the league in Sam Masters and Scott Nichols. You won't find any better. And then you've also got to throw into the mix Workington and Redcar away, and it's only a 4-point deficit on aggregate in both of those fixtures. You know, I think if it comes down to a couple of points that Plymouth missed on the playoffs, it'll probably come back to those back-to-back Tuesdays against Workington and Redcar that they went down by 4 points here at home.
So I was just saying, Garry May saying some encouraging words to Patrick back there before he comes out. Carry on, Joe. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think Garry mentioned it himself that, you know, as a team, we have a lot to play in this playoff race. You know, if we're not going to make it, we can still have a big impact as to who finishes where. And that's why, you know, we're not just going to throw the towel in, just getting rider replacement at 1. We're still going to get the strongest possible guests. Because it's twofold, really. A, we want to take momentum into the winter, as I mentioned earlier, ahead of next season, and work out how the team's going to look. But equally, it's important to other teams how our fixtures go. And it's important tonight how this fixture goes, albeit, as we say, what are we at the moment? We're 30 points behind on the aggregate. So we're getting to the point where that's now, well, it is probably redundant, isn't it? I'm trying to keep positive.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remain positive about it. But it's getting to the point where it's now about just get 2 points tonight. Get the 2 points tonight. Scunthorpe will have 3 out of the 5. We'll have 2 out of 5. It's not the end of the world because you're still winning fixtures. And momentum is so key in Speedway, as Scunthorpe are proving with the season they're having.
And to get a win over the team in second place in the table will do wonders for confidence ahead of, as you say, some tough fixtures coming up with Oxford away. Of course, in the BSN series, Plymouth did really well up at Oxford, didn't they? So they can take encouragement from that as well.
Yeah, and you know, a lot will rely on obviously who rides at number 1 on Wednesday night and how Patrick Beck's going to go. You know, we obviously hope Dan Thompson doesn't have any effects after his fall last night. We hope Ben's getting close to being back to full fitness. Just to let you know, Workington finished 47-43
wow.
up there in the north. Chris Harris, who guested, got 12 for Workington. Antti Vuolas with 13, Redcar with 43 in response. Redcar did take the bonus point in that fixture by 6 points, so they'll be pretty satisfied with their efforts across the weekend. And when you go into these 5-point weekends, you know, it is about trying to get 3 points, and then if you can get 5, you're absolutely delighted, aren't you?
Yeah, Redcar and Workington are now level on 14. I haven't got the points difference there to tell you who'll be 4th and who'll be 5th, but Workington have still got a meeting in hand over Redcar. Of course, they've just brought in former Gladiator Paul Stark to replace Selina Liebman. They're a bit like Plymouth, who is struggling to find someone for Nico Cavasi. Workington is struggling to find someone for Tate Zishki at the moment because, you know, riders aren't available, are they?
They're at a premium, aren't they? Particularly those top-level riders, with the way the points limit was coming into the season at 38 points per team. It's just made it so difficult to replace riders. Elsewhere, it's 12 all at Berwick.
Wow.
Berwick and Oxford, but Oxford are 16 points ahead on the aggregate. So for them, as I say, it's all about 3 points, and if they can win on the night, they get full 5 from the fixture, and they'll be delighted.
Well, Oxford will be desperate for Scunthorpe to lose here, so they can close the gap on the Scorpions. So we're about to get underway for heat number 5 after that track grade. Simon Lambert in yellow, the Scorpion skipper, coming off gate number 1. Dan Thompson in red for Plymouth off gate number 2. Gate 3, Michael Palm-Toft, the winner first time out for the Scorpions. He's in white on gate 3. And in gate 4, let's see how Patrick Baek gets on from the other side of the starting grid. He gated well off gate 1. He's in blue off gate 4 this time, and said he had some words of wisdom from Garry May in the pits a few minutes ago. He had a chat with Ben Barker as well, so I'm sure he'll be taking all that on board and hoping to build that into his performance in his second outing.
I think we'd all like words of wisdom from Garry May.
Yes.
I don't imagine they're short in supply. I'd imagine he's got plenty of them. I mean, what an enthusiastic man to have as your team manager. You know, he will do everything he can to help you out, whether it's advising you on little setup changes or just pulling riders in to give you advice. He must be a great person to work for.
And it's usually laced with a bit of humour as well, isn't it? So the start marshal just trying to get the bikes up to the starting tapes. Just to remind you, the score's 14 points to 10 to the Gladiators after 4 races, 42 to 72 on aggregate. But as I said, Gladiators, their aim really tonight is to get the victory and pick up those 2 points.
I don't think Michael Palm-Toft's too happy. He's just had to move his starting position there, and I don't think he was too amused at it.
So here we go for heat number 5. And that's a good gate off the inside by Simon Lambert. He's been chased down that back straight by Dan Thompson, Michael Palm-Toft in 3rd, and Patrick Baek at the moment trailing at the back, but it's Simon Lambert leading the way at the front.
Yeah, really good start from Simon, and actually Michael Palm-Toft with that gate change didn't make too bad a start. Crikey, Dan Thompson had some speed going into bend 3 and 4. He's all over the back of Simon Lambert. This race is far from done, and it's going to be a fun couple 100 metres to go. He's trying to get up the inside. Is he making it move? Not quite, but he's got one more lap to do it.
Simon Lambert, as he says, he has mixed meetings here, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Well, he's looking good here out front, just about holding off the attentions of Dan Thompson as they come round to the last 2 bends, and it looks like he's going to hang on for the race win for the Scorpions. Simon Lambert it is who crosses first, Dan Thompson 2nd, Michael Palm-Toft 3rd, and Patrick Baek trailing in last. So it's yellow, red, white and blue.
What great race. Great race. It may not have had totally the overtaking we wanted, but certainly superb from both Simon Lambert and Dan Thompson. You can't knock the race in there, but absolutely superb. Simon was brilliant out of the gate, and Dan Thompson tried absolutely everything he could to get past him, but it just wasn't to be, as Michael Palm-Toft just has a little chat with the start marshal, just trying to sort out what the problem was.
So the race winner, Simon Lambert, the Scorpion skipper in yellow in a time of 53.66. 2nd, Dan Thompson pushing him all the way in red for the Gladiators. 3rd was Michael Palm-Toft in white for the Scorpions. Patrick Baek coming in last for the Gladiators. So a 4-2 for the Scorpions this time, narrowing that gap to just 2 points, 16 points to 14 for the Gladiators, with the bikes coming round for the start of heat number 6.
Yeah, I don't think David Howe will be too unhappy with how things are going so far. They're keeping it at 2 points, and the fixture win certainly on for Scunthorpe here. Big race now for Zach Cook, isn't it? He's got to be more on the pace than he was in that first ride, and I'm sure he's been making subtle little changes to his machinery that will give him every chance here.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll have sorted out the issues he had in that first one. He's off in red off gate 1 for Plymouth. In gate 2, of course, Kyle Howarth, former Plymouth man, for the Scorpions. In gate 3, just waiting for him to still come round. He's just on his way. Alfie BOWTELL in blue for the Gladiators. And in gate 4, Nathan Ablitt in yellow for the Scorpions. And well, he was looking really good for a second place in his opening ride before he had a fall on that final bend. So apart from that, he'll be looking to pick up where he left off.
Yeah, I mean, if Nathan can show the same pace as he did in that reserves heat number 2, he's not going to be too far away here, is he? So it'll be interesting to see how Zach goes here. We'll obviously be hoping he's a little bit more on the pace. And Alfie had a really good start to the night, didn't he? You know, it was a really good ride, and it just took a bit of genius from Michael Toft to get round him to take the win. And equally, Kyle Howarth will be wanting to show that, yes, Ben Barker was quick, but he can be just as quick back on his old track. So
it'll be interesting to see how Zach Cook gets on here. He's obviously very unhappy with his bike setup in that first ride. He's trailed in way behind at the back, but I'm sure we'll see a different Zach Cook this time around. So Cook, BOWTELL, Howarth and Ablitt, the 4 men here. That's a good gate from Carl Howarth. And it's Zach Cook who's following him down the back straight with Alfie BOWTELL in 3rd place, Nathan Ablitt at the back, but a great gate there from Carl Howarth.
Absolutely superb from the former Gladiators skipper, and he's really winding it on out in front now. He's not going to let anything put pay to this win here from Carl Howarth. Superb out of the gates, and he's looking stylish. 2nd place, Zach Cook was on the pace there in lap number 1. He just can't keep up with Kyle. Kyle's looking so quick out in front here. Alfie BOWTELL slotted into 3rd. A nice 3-all, I think, will do Garry May quite well, because Carl Howarth won't be caught, surely.
No, all 4 of them are pretty spaced out here. Carl Howarth showing his class out front. Very little that Zach Cook can do here to close that gap, and it's Carl Howarth who's going to take the checkered flag in impressive fashion with Zach Cook, Alfie BOWTELL and Nathan Ablitt behind him. So it finishes white, red, blue and yellow.
That was how you do it from Carl Howarth, and we saw it happen so many times last season, but that is exactly how you do it. And it will be interesting to clock what time it was here. 52.69, so it's almost identical to Michael Toft's and Ben Barker's time, and he just looks so smooth out there.
Yeah, superb from Carl Howarth, as Joe said, 52.69, the second fastest time in the night, behind Michael Toft. Zach Cook in 2nd in red, followed by his teammates in blue, Alfie BOWTELL, and Nathan Ablitt bringing up the rear in yellow. So it's a 3-3 heat draw there, giving us a progressive score of Plymouth 19, Scunthorpe 17.
Yep, another really interesting heat coming up here now as well. Obviously Connor Mountain, after looking really good in heat number 3. Jake Allen will be wanting to put to bed what happened to him in the exact heat, and well, Ben Barker looked superb in his first ride of the night, and it's so pleasing as a Gladiators fan to see Ben Barker, to see him look so good in that first ride of the night. It must give him so much confidence, not only in himself and his body, but also in his machinery. And look, Joe Thompson had a superb start as well, winning heat number 2, so fingers crossed here.
Let's see the lineup. So it's Jake Allen in white off gate 1 for the Scorpions. That man, Ben Barker, in red for the Gladiators off gate 2. Gate 3 is Connor Mountain in yellow for the Scorpions. Gate 4, Joe Thompson in blue for the Gladiators. Barker's had a lot of meetings under his belt recently. He seems to get some guest bookings, and he says all along he needs more meetings, and he's certainly getting them at the moment.
He's certainly finding out the ins and outs of Glasgow at the moment, isn't he?
He's used to travelling to Scotland and back, isn't he? Having ridden for Glasgow and Edinburgh and Berwick. I think he's done all three, isn't he?
Yeah, and you know, Ben's a box office rider, isn't he? I'm going to throw the cliche in there now. He's just all entertainment. You see it on every opposition team's previews. They always mention Ben Barker and how entertaining he is. And we saw it in his first ride there tonight, just how entertaining he can be. Let's hope for more of the same.
Cammy Brand described him after the Glasgow pool meeting, I think last week, as absolutely sensational, was the way he described Ben Barker's performance. So we know what he means when he says that. It's an all-action Plymouth skipper looking to make it back-to-back race wins here out of gate 2 in heat number 7. And the tape's about to go up here, and looks like Barker's got a good one again. Closely tracked by, he's had to slip between Jake Allen and Connor Mountain. Is very tight going into that third bend. They've almost all come to a stop. Barker's had to drop out as he's got an engine problem. I'm not sure, but it's left the Scorpions duo way out in front.
Ben stopped on the track here. I'm not quite sure what's going on. The red lights do eventually come on. Ben wasn't happy with what happened there in bend 3. He tried to go between the two Scorpions and it got awfully tight. I'm not quite sure what's going on here with Ben, but I think he could do with cooling down here because Ben's not happy at all. It all just got very tight. Ben's tried to go between the two Scorpions and it's got narrow going into bend 3. We're not quite sure what's going to happen here because Ben's taken it upon himself to stop the race and the two Scorpions were out and gone. It's a shame because it got tight in bend 1 and they all seem to want to go round that outside line.
Well, Rob Doran has very wisely gone to collect Ben and walking back to the pits, but well, I think the referee might take a bit of a dim view of that. We'll see, but it was a very tight third bend, wasn't it?
We're going to see it here. Ben tries to go through and it just gets too tight between Jake Allen and Connor Mountain. Jake loses all the momentum himself and ends up in the air fence, and Ben's putting his arm up to try and get the race stopped. I'm not sure if his kill switch has come out or something as well, but Ben really wasn't happy there, and you shouldn't take it upon yourself to stop the race. It's at the referee's discretion. Let's get one more look here. As you can see, Ben's trying to thread the eye of a needle. Jake Allen on the outside, there's bumping there between Mountain and Barker, and that just sends Ben wide, and you're going to see in a minute Ben just take his arm off the bike.
I mean,
his kill switch has definitely come off his wrist there, but
really you need a view down that back straight, don't you, to really see what happened there. It's that Connor Mountain not looking.
No, I think that's Luke Harrison.
Oh, sorry, Luke Harrison just coming out
off the track, isn't it? Because he's out in heat number 8.
Yeah.
But,
well, I mean, you would think Ben's going to be excluded.
It's hard racing, isn't there? Is there really a gap for Ben to go through? I mean, we can't see properly without the head-on shot down the back, which we don't have access to.
But I don't think the referee can make
any other decision.
From my point of view, you can't make a decision on what happened on bend 3 because we've seen that a couple of times now. There's nothing clear cut there, and then Ben has parked his bike in the middle of the track and is forced the race to be stopped. So Ben, unfortunately, I think is got to be excluded.
I think what we've got there is we've got an example of 3 riders who were electric out of the gate. They've all gone for the same part of the track. They've all gone for the same patch as we go into the pits. And we're just going to see Rob Doran just try to clear things away. Garry May and David Howe are having a conversation. It all looks pretty jovial, but Garry always tries to defuse the situation. Gary Allen's down there now, and he's having a conversation
Rob Doran
with
acting as peacemaker, isn't he? Just between the Plymouth and the Scunthorpe side of the pits.
I would wager that Ben Barker's not as good a politician as Gary Allen is.
Well, Ben's well, the referee's come down, hasn't he? The referee has come out of his box, well,
I think Ben wants him to have a look at his machinery, but unfortunately, Ben, I'm not sure that's going to have any. It's not going to have any bearing because it's got tight, and the 3 riders have gone for the same bit of track. Ben's tried to go through a gap that he believes is there.
Yeah.
The Scunthorpe riders, to be fair for Connor Mountain, it looked like he was getting to bend 3 in front of Ben Barker. Jake Allen was certainly around the outside, and Ben's just become the meat in the sandwich. And Ben is furious, and we're just looking down at a little bit of damage to his bike, but you can't stop the race. You can't just lay your bike on the track the way Ben does.
I mean, are we putting words in his mouth? Did he feel that Connor Mountain drifted out a little bit there and shut the... I mean, it's very hard from where we are. We're on the opposite side of the track. As I said, it just looked like 3 riders going into a very tight situation. Unfortunately, Ben was in the middle.
To me, it looks like a hard racing incident.
Yeah.
You see it in all forms of motorsport where, in motor car racing, drivers go for gaps that they think's there that they're not. And in motorbike racing, it's even harder to go for gaps. And we're just going to wait to see. We're going to have a bit of track work goes on. I don't know whether that's just to give everybody a chance to calm down.
That's probably a good decision by
the
referee. Well, the referee has had to come out of his box and get involved in the discussions there. But
I think David Howe's just trying to tell his riders now, look, just calm. Don't worry about it too much. You've got a job to do yourselves. just focus on your own job here. Just everybody, try and keep cool heads, because that's the sort of thing that can really go against the team mentally. And Garry May has to be the same to the Plymouth riders now. Keep your keep calm, stand your ground. But I mean, it's as drastic a measure as I've ever seen a rider make to stop a race. And Ben feels like he had to get the race stopped, but I'm not totally sure, without being a rider myself and getting into Ben's head, I'm not sure what he was trying to achieve by doing that.
No, and
because I don't imagine Gary Allen's going to then turn around and say, right, well, I'll exclude. Which one do you want me to exclude?
Yeah, that was the issue, wasn't it? And well, you fear Ben might be in a spot of bother over his actions there, but time will tell on that. But we haven't even got an official decision. I haven't seen any exclusion lights come on. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it's been awarded or whether...
well, I don't think we'd completed the second lap yet, had
no,
we? Because obviously I don't even think we completed the first lap. Oh, no, we were just about to complete the second lap, but Ben was in the way.
Yeah.
So it's all just... It's very odd. We're trying to get a look at Ben's bike again. Gary's down there. I mean, Joe's ready to go in the blue helmet colour. We do have Mark going round with the water truck at the moment, but I mean, look, last time we were on commentary, Nigel, we had the incident where Drew Kemp unfortunately clattered into the back of Ben Barker. I've never seen an incident like this.
No, and it's a difficult one, but you can't take matters into your own hands, can you? It's got to be left up to the referee to make the decision. And, Ben obviously thought there was no way the referee was going to make a decision there, so he almost forced him to make a decision. But unfortunately, I think there's only going to be one decision, isn't there?
Yeah, I personally can't see, as I say, I'm not an ex-Speedway rider, I'm not educated in how rules are made. I know the basic rules that you need to know as a Speedway fan. I don't understand how Gary Allen can come to any other decision now other than to exclude Ben Barker.
Yeah.
He's obviously had a conversation with him in the pits. I presume it's just stay as calm as you can, I'll make the decisions, you ride the races.
So Joe Thompson is still ready to come out, so it's definitely going to be a rerun. So there's no suggestion it's been awarded.
Always throws up the unexpected, Speedway, doesn't it?
It does. Never a dull moment.
No, I mean, the people down there on Ben's 4, and even the bar bandits on Ben 2, and the other supporters in front of the bar area there, they'll have had a perfect view of how much of a gap there was.
I was going to say that they'd have the perfect view there of going down that back straight, but from the view that we had, and certainly from the view that the referee had, I don't think... To him, it would have just looked like three riders going into one piece of track. It got very tight. Amazingly, they all stayed up. And unfortunately, Ben was the meat and the sandwich, wasn't he?
That's probably the miracle of the situation, is that all three riders stayed on their bikes.
Yeah.
Both Ben and Jake collected the air fence. Jake Allen did a wonderful job of staying on the bike.
I thought we were going to have carnage for a minute.
So did I.
All three of them were going to come off.
Yeah, and that's the last thing we want to see. But, I mean, that... we're seeing Mark Simmons continuing to work on Ben's bike. I think that might be Ben at the back of the bike. There he is. Hopefully he's just calmed down a little bit. But, I mean, this is going to work one of two ways for Ben now, isn't it? It's either going to be in his head for the rest of the night, or he's going to use it as fuel to fire himself up even more. And we saw how good he was in that first ride of the night. And to be fair to the three riders, it looked like they were about to serve up possibly the heat of the night.
Yeah.
Because all three of them were bang on the pace, and it's a positive for Scunthorpe that Connor Mountain is so much on the pace. Jake Allen was on the pace. He was in his first ride and he was there. So, we are getting good racing. As I said to Simon Lambert, you just hope it's a safe and clean meeting.
Yeah.
And that had the potential to get pretty nasty. We're glad it hasn't.
Yeah.
And let's hope the rest of the night goes drama-free.
And we're not, because we haven't got the evidence. We're not for 1 minute saying the Scunthorpe riders did anything that wasn't clean.
I'm not sure they did.
No. So we just had confirmation Ben has been excluded. So it is going to be a three-rider rerun with Joe Thompson, Jake Allen and Connor Mountain. But
on what we've seen on the replays, I accept we don't have the angles. On what we've seen on the replays, I think nobody is to blame. I think all three riders have gone for that one slot going into Ben 3. And unfortunately, it's the perfect parting, really, isn't it? It's the perfect meet that they've had in the bend.
Yeah.
And, now it's on Joe to limit the damage here as best he can. But if Joe goes as we know he does, then there's every chance he'll be able to.
Come on, fans, we can do better than that.
So the riders coming out for the rerun.
Joe needs to hear us there on the line. Your rider in white is Jake.
Joe's going to come off gate number 4 as well here. So,
Connor Mountain.
you know, the Scorpions do have the advantage coming off 1 and 3 because Joe's going to have to go around the both of them.
So here we go. It's Jake Allen in gate 1 in white for the Scorpions. In gate 3, it's his teammate Connor Mountain in yellow, and in gate 4 in blue, it's the lone gladiator in this race, Joe Thompson, with Ben Barker excluded. And, well, the two Scorpion riders gated very well in that first running of heat number 7, so let's see how they get on this time. Joe Thompson is the man who's got to do the business here, but he did the business up at the Eddie Wright Raceway last night, so Gladiators fans will be pinning their hopes on him.
Yeah, you want Joe to limit the damage as best he can, but if he can look as good as he did in that first ride, albeit it was the slowest time of the night, if he can get out and get out of the gate, he's putting all the work on the Scunthorpe riders.
Ben Barker's next outing, by the way, is heat number 11, or next programmed outing, that is. So here we go with the rerun of heat number 7. And Joe Thompson's made a great gate there. Has he done enough to get across Jake Allen? Not quite, but he's in second place. Allen leads going down that back straight. Oh, there's a little bit of locking up there, and Allen hangs on at the front with Joe Thompson in second.
Yeah, a really good gate from both Jake and Joe. And you just saw Joe just locked up a little bit going into bend 3, and that just killed the momentum he had. Jake's looking better here in his second ride, isn't he? This is much more the Jake Allen we know around the Coliseum. Joe's now got Connor Mountain on his back. This is a different test for Joe now. He's no longer interested in trying to catch Jake Allen. It's about keeping Connor Mountain behind him.
Yeah, looking impressive out the front here. Jake Allen had a few issues in his first ride, but well on his way to 3 points here. Connor Mountain keeping Joe Thompson under a lot of pressure here, but Thompson's going to hang on for that second place, and it's Jake Allen who wins. So it's white, blue, yellow, just the 3 riders in heat number 7, a 4-2 to the Scorpions.
Damage limitation from Joe there. He had the chance to go around Jake Allen, and to be fair to him, he was right on it. But you know, damage wasn't done as much as it could have been there. It's just a 4-2 to the Scorpions, which levels the meeting up. So from a Plymouth perspective, it's not the end of the world what happened there with only 1 rider in the race.
Confirmation, Jake Allen the winner in white and a time of 54.08. Second in blue, Joe Thompson for the Gladiators. Third is Connor Mountain in yellow for the Scorpions. Ben Barker, of course, excluded. 4-2 to the Scorpions, and it's level pegging here at the Coliseum. It's 21 points apiece, and we're just approaching the midway point of the meeting as the riders come out for heat number 8. And of course we've got Simon Lambert, the Scorpion skipper, out here, who had a fine race win in his last outing.
I think what that last heat in all of its finery has done is it's lit the blue touch paper on what's now going to be a very exciting meeting, because we've now got 2 sides that are locked together on the night. You know, that's what we've got to focus on now. Is it's an on the night fixture. Scunthorpe are pulling away. They've got their buffer that they're trying to protect. This could be a really fun end to the night now. Yeah,
it certainly is. It's going to be a very interesting last 8 heats here at the Coliseum as we wait for Alfie BOWTELL to come round. But in gate 1 in yellow for the Scorpions, Luke Harrison. Second, in gate 2, in blue is Jacob Hook for the Gladiators. Simon Lambert, as I said, winner last time out in white in gate 3 for Scunthorpe, and it's Alfie BOWTELL just coming around to join them. He's in red off gate number 4. This is an interesting race, this one. It's going to be quite hard to call because BOWTELL and Hook have done pretty well so far, but as we said, Simon Lambert was very impressive winning his last race.
What I have found, particularly this season, is Heat 8 has often tended to play quite a large role in how Gladiators nights have gone. You know, you think back to Poole away a couple of weeks ago, particularly Glasgow away a few weeks before that. You know, we were in the meeting on the road up until Heat 8, and then things just went away from us a little bit. At home, it's often where we tried to utilise the advantage. Jacob's having a very good season, he's getting better with each meeting, and Alfie is very good around this home track. Simon Lambert, though, is going to be a very worthy adversary, and Luke Harrison, as I said, he's been on the pace in both of his rides so far.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting one. Can Simon Lambert repeat his success of his last outing? Tapes her up. And it's a great gate there from Luke Harrison, who's leading out front from Alfie BOWTELL. BOWTELL goes around the outside of him on bend number 3 and takes the lead, but that was a great start from Luke Harrison.
Yeah, really good. And we also had Simon Lambert go around the outside of Jacob Hook. And Simon Lambert now, he's only got one idea in his head. He wants to clear Luke Harrison as quickly as he can and get after Alfie BOWTELL out in front. This is a really good race here. You could throw a blanket over all 4 of them because Jacob Hook isn't far off the pace himself. This is a good race in behind Alfie BOWTELL.
Yeah, Lambert's trying to get past his teammate, but he's also got to have eyes in the back of his head because Jacob Hook's not giving up. He's locked up a bit on bend 4 there, lost a bit of ground, but Alfie BOWTELL leading the way out front. Great race from Luke Harrison here, really keeping the pressure on the Gladiators rider, but it's BOWTELL who's going to take the checkered flag.
Really good race.
So it's
really good race.
Red, yellow, white, blue is the finishing order there.
Alfie enjoyed that. Alfie gave us a good fist bump there, and he's just giving it to the Colin Hill stand as well. He really enjoyed that. It was vital that he got the win. But that was such a good race. Such a good race by all 4 riders. You know, Jacob wasn't far off, and for that locking up, he would have been a lot closer.
So BOWTELL, the winner in red for the Gladiators, in a time of 53.95. Second in yellow for the Scorpions is Luke Harrison. Third in white for the Scorpions, Simon Lambert. And Jacob Hook, despite his best efforts for the Gladiators, coming in last in blue. So it's yet another 3-3, and it stays 24 points apiece. And, well, I wouldn't like to call this at the moment. Aggregate score, of course, 86-52. I don't think we have to worry about that at the moment, but certainly it's up in the air as who's going to take the 2 points tonight.
It certainly is, and I thought this would be a good meeting coming into it as a standalone fixture, and it certainly proven to be. All 4 got off the gate pretty well, but you just see there Jacob squeezed out by the 2 Scorpions. Luke Harrison with a really good gate, but he couldn't quite match Alfie BOWTELL's speed. That's where Simon Lambert's intelligent. He gets the bike turning in early into bend 3 and gets around the back of Jacob Hook. Now this is where Simon Lambert thinks about, right, as a team man, do I need to get past Luke Harrison to try and take the win? But I think we're going to see in a minute as he just tries here and just squares up a little bit. He loses just a little bit of momentum, and he thinks about going up the inside there, but he just conserves it and thinks, right, I'm going to shepherd home my young rider here. We'll get the 3-3, we'll go again. But for Luke Harrison, I talked about it earlier, and I don't want to keep going on about it because I don't want to sound like I'm patronising, but he's been on the pace for his first 2 rides, and that was a really good ride. You've got to remember he's so young. He's won so many youth titles at 125 and 250cc already. You know, he's got a really promising career, and every ride he gets is just going to be a bonus, particularly around a quirky track like the Coliseum, where he scored 9 points in the under-21s qualifier. You know, he clearly likes the place. He clearly goes well around here, and we're showing that so far.
Had an interesting view of him chatting to Michael Toft there, but explaining to him what happened in the race, but I'm sure Toft was giving him a few tips as well. How he could have hung on to the lead there, but I'm sure David Howe will have been delighted with the way he started that race. Alfie BOWTELL having a good solid evening here, 6, page 7 from his 3 rides so far, doing a good job in that number 2 position. And we're about to get underway for heat number 9. Patrick Baek just being pushed out there, and about to get on his bike in red there is Dan Thompson. But, Ben Barker having a chat with Garry MAY.
Gary's trying to calm Ben down, I think. Ben's trying to get Dan going into this heat, but you can see Ben and Garry having a good chat. They're great entertainment, the pair of them.
Ben's animated, Gary's just laughing, so I'd love to be in a...
I think they're animated in different ways,
yes.
aren't they? They certainly are, but you know, you really hope here that we'll see the best of Patrick Baek. We've not quite seen it yet. He was good out of the gate in his first ride. Let's see if we can get the same again.
Yep, he's in gate 2 in this one, but Carl Howarth, one of the top men for Scunthorpe, he's in white off gate 1. That man Baek is in blue off gate 2 for Plymouth. In gate 3, Nathan Ablitt for the Scorpions in yellow, and in gate 4 it's Dan Thompson in red for the Gladiators. Carl Howarth has picked up a win and a second so far. Dan Thompson has had a couple of second places, so he'll be looking to pick up his first win of the evening in this race.
Yeah, he will, and you know, Dan wasn't too far off it in his last ride, and coming from gate 4 here, he will look to try and get across and try and cut Carl Howarth off going into Ben's one if he can.
So just looking for the start of heat number 9.
I think Ben Barker's calmed down from behind us there.
Long hold at the tapes there, but Dan Thompson's made a great one, but Carl Howarth made an even better one, but Baek and Nathan Ablitt have collided there. Ablitt slid off into the fencing on gate number 4, and I would imagine it's going to be all 4 riders back there.
Red lights were on straight away. We're just going to see. I think it's probably just a Ben 1 incident, isn't it? You know, Nathan's got Patrick coming from the inside. Dan's tried to go on. It was a really good start by Dan Thompson. We said about getting out of gate 4 and trying to cut across from Kyle Howarth, but Kyle showed his knowledge of the Coliseum to get into Ben 1, but you don't want to keep going around the inside of Ben 1. You want to pull off a little bit, try and get into the centre of the track. We're going to see it here. Just watch Kyle Howarth off gate number 1 here. He's going to get out at the start, and you're just going to see he's going to let the bike run into the corner. He doesn't want to stay on the inside, and that just pushes Dan Thompson wide. But you're seeing behind there, it just gets a little bit tight between Patrick Baek and Nathan Ablitt. All 4 riders back is the right decision because it's a Ben 1 incident, and it happens in almost every meeting, doesn't it? There's always an incident going into Ben 1. Thankfully, Nathan's up all right. He's fine. He's going to be all right for the rerun. He's seeing a lot of the Plymouth shale so far, Nathan.
Let's just see our sponsors. Yes, thank you as ever to the sponsors. I was hoping to grab Ben Barker there because he was going to watch that heat from over our shoulder, but as soon as Nathan Ablitt slipped off, he walked away. But
I quote the great man, "I'm fine," with a smile on his face. So I think the hot-headedness has disappeared for the time being as he surveys Ben 1 and 2.
I'm sure we could have got a sensible interview out of him though, without him taking us off air with any words he shouldn't be saying. But
you'd like to think so, as he just has a word with a member of the track staff. But yeah, Nathan will be looking to. It wasn't. Excuse me. It wasn't a bad start from Nathan. It was just a case of, again, similar to what happened to Ben 3 in the Barker, Allen and Mountain moment. There was just not a gap for the pair of them to get through at that period because Howarth and Thompson were in front.
As aggrieved as Ben feels, and he might have reason to be aggrieved if we saw a different view of it, but I don't think the referee could have made any other decision than the one he made, and that decision was forced on him really by Ben's actions.
Yeah, Ben had to be excluded, and I'm sure he's going to learn from it on his next ride. But that was a really promising start from Dan Thompson, and if he can match it here and just get to Kyle Howarth before, as I mentioned, Kyle comes off the inside of Ben 1, so you sort of get into the centre left of the track as you go into Ben 1, then Dan's got every chance of carrying on round that outside line, which riders are already trying to exploit here. Although we're only at heat number 9, they're trying to go wide now off bends 1 and 2. So if they can replicate that, we should be in for a good race here.
So the bike's around for the restart of heat number 9. In white again is Carl Howarth for the Scorpions. In blue, Patrick Baek for the Gladiators. In gate 3 in yellow is Nathan Ablitt for the Scorpions. And in gate 4 in red for the Gladiators is Dan Thompson. So we shall try again.
Kyle will be hoping to replicate that start if he can from the original running of the race, and Dan will equally, as I say, just try and get across Kyle as quickly as he can, because we know Dan can then be out and gone. But let's see what they all muster up this time.
So here we go for the rerun of heat number 9. That's a great start again. Dan Thompson making it from the outside, but Carl Howarth also making a good gate, and Howarth just getting his nose in front down that back straight. As they cross the start-finish line at the end of lap 1, it's Howarth in front. Dan Thompson putting him under loads of pressure.
I actually thought we were watching a replay of the first start. It was almost identical, and Dan was just that little bit quicker off the start line. But again, Kyle Howarth used his knowledge Really good first lap from all 4 of these riders. They really got their bikes in the wheels. Keep an eye on Patrick Baek, who's looking a lot better in this heat than he has so far tonight. Nathan Ablitt not able to get close, but Kyle Howarth's under pressure from Dan Thompson.
Yeah, Kyle Howarth looking very classy out front. Dan Thompson suffered a bike problem. He's drifted wide on that bend. So disappointing for Dan Thompson. It's going to make it a 4-2 for the Scorpions. More bad luck there for Plymouth, but it's white, blue, yellow with Kyle Howarth the race winner, and it ended up being Patrick Baek in second place.
Oh, you've got a feel for Dan. It was 3.5 laps of a really good ride from him, wasn't it? And his bike's just cut out there as he went down the back, leaving bend 2. Credits Kyle Howarth who got the jump on the gate, and as I say, he came off that inside run and he managed to make it stick from there.
52.94 for Kyle Howarth in winning heat number 9 in white for the Scorpions. Patrick Baek eventually coming in second in blue for the Gladiators. Third was Nathan Ablitt in yellow for the Scorpions, and very sad for Dan Thompson, suffering engine failure when he was second, having to drop out and coming in 4th. So a 4-2 this time for the Scorpions, and for the second time tonight they get their noses in front. 28-26, they led after the first race. Let's see a rerun of the start.
I promise you this isn't a replay of the original running, but this is almost identical. You can see how wide Dan Thompson is there. Elbows almost touching the fence, but here he goes. Jet propelled, and there's Kyle Howarth just coming off that inside line, and it just stops Dan's momentum. It looks here for all the world like Dan's got enough speed going down the back straight, but Kyle cuts across from the outside going into bend 3. That's all she wrote really out in front. Dan wasn't too far off the pace. He was keeping Kyle Howarth honest, and then just he'll be bemoaning that bad luck there at the end.
So we've got the Scorpions engine room here of Jake Allen and Connor Mountain out against guest Zach Cook and Alfie BOWTELL. But BOWTELL's having a good evening so far, and it's BOWTELL just coming around to the start line. So in yellow off gate number 1 is Connor Mountain for the Scorpions. He's got 4 points tonight. Alfie BOWTELL in blue for the Gladiators. He's got paid 7. In gate 3 in white for the Scorpions, Jake Allen with 3 points to his name, and Zach Cook, that second place so far this evening. He's in gate 4 in red for the Gladiators. Important race this one. If the Scorpions get their noses in front here, then they're going to take some hauling back, aren't they?
They are, yeah. At the bare minimum, it has to be a 3-all. From a Plymouth point of view, ideally a 5-1 if we're going to be greedy.
Yes.
Why not? But you know, it's a really good fixture. This I'm really enjoying this because it's 2 teams who are giving absolutely everything out there. They're leaving nothing out there. And it's actually adding to some really good racing.
I wouldn't like to call this. Obviously, Scunthorpe have got the bonus point in the bag. 46 points clear. That's not going to change. But who's going to take the other 2? That is the question. Scunthorpe need the points to consolidate second place in the table. Plymouth need the points to climb off the bottom of the table. But
for some reason in my programme, I decided to give Scunthorpe 30 points after that last race. So Scorpion fans, you can thank me later.
And that's a great gate there from Connor Mountain. Zach Cook trying to go around the outside of him down that back straight, and Cook has got great grip and momentum there and takes the lead. The Scorpions pair are packing into second and third, and it's Alfie BOWTELL coming in at the back.
Yeah, much better from Zach Cook, a really good gate. As you say, the Scorpions didn't get bad starts themselves. Now, what can Alfie do to try and get past Jake Allen? I think for Jake now it's just got to be about shepherding home this 3-all, because Connor Mountain is probably not going to get near Zach Cook, who's looking stylish in front. What can Alfie muster with a lap to go?
The dust is certainly flying here at the Coliseum as Zach Cook crosses the finish line for the start of the final lap. But there's no way that the Scorpions pair are going to catch him here, and it's going to be a drawn heat with Zach Cook winning, Mountain second, Allen third, so it finishes red, yellow, white, blue. Yeah,
I mean, I said a bare minimum of 3-all. You know, it's again a bit of damage limitation. Really good ride from Zach. He got out, and you know, he wasn't really troubled out in front there. Alfie will be frustrated by that, I think, because he couldn't quite muster the speed to get past Jake Allen. Good time from Zach Cook there. and going into heat 13, that will give him a boost.
Yeah, 52.74 the time there for Zach Cook, winning the race in red for the Gladiators. Then came the Scorpions duo with Connor Mountain in yellow in second and Jake Allen in white in third. Alfie BOWTELL in blue at the back for the Gladiators. So that's another 3-3. That's 3 in the last 5 races we've had. It's Plymouth 29, the Scorpions 31.
And look who's coming out in red helmet colour here. So this will be the first time that we've seen Ben Barker since that Heat 7 incident. So let's see what it's done to him and just see how fired up he is. He's got Michael Toft coming off. Ben's on 1, Toft on 2. I suspect Ben's going to do exactly what Kyle Howarth did. Keep to the inside as long as he can, but as we get into Ben 1, he'll just inch off the inside and try and just stop off Michael Toft's momentum, so it gives him the advantage then as they go down the back straight.
Probably just as well he's not coming out with Jake Allen and Connor Mountain, really, but yeah, it's certainly added a bit of spice to what was already a good meeting.
On paper, from what we've seen from the 4 riders tonight, this could be a really interesting race and potentially the race of the night.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Because all 4 riders have shown glimpses of what they're capable of on this track. This could be a really fun watch.
So that man, Ben Barker, in red off gate 1, looking to put the incident of Heat 7 behind him here. So in red for Plymouth. In gate 2 for the Scorpions is Michael Toft in white. Gate 3, Joe Thompson, who was left to fend for himself against the 2 Scorpions in that Heat 7. He's in blue in gate 3 for the Gladiators. And Simon Lambert, who's done a pretty good captain's job for the Scorpions so far this evening, he's in gate 4 and he's in yellow, and he's got paid 6 from his paid 6 from his first 3 rides.
He was in good form before the meeting, and he's in good form whilst he's on the bike, isn't he, Simon? And you know, he's always been one of those never give up riders. He put in a really good guest appearance, I remember, at Birmingham last year for the Gladiators when our season was just about over. He never stopped trying, so he never dies wanting, to Simon. He's a good rider to watch.
So here we go for heat number 11, just 2 points between the teams with 5 races to go. Barker traps first, but a good piece of riding by Michael Toft, getting over the top of him, and Simon Lambert coming around down the back straight. Scorpions on a 5-1 here at the moment, but I'm sure Ben Barker will have something to say about that.
Whoa, it got tight between the 2 Scorpions, and Ben's got on the inside of Simon Lambert, who's down. Simon's in the air fence, we hope he's okay. It got very tight there between Ben and Simon. It got tight initially between the 2 Scorpions coming up the home straight. There wasn't a whole lot of room there, and then it was all about who got squeezed out, and unfortunately Simon is the one who got squeezed out. He is currently under the air fence. Hopefully he's okay. The track staff are rushing over just to help him out.
Now this is going to be very interesting because Ben drifted reasonably wide there. Simon Lambert ran out of room. I don't think there was any contact. The view that the referee will have of that is very different to the view that we will have. But you imagine the reaction of Ben Barker if the referee excluded him after what happened earlier.
Yeah, for sure. And we're just going to hopefully get Simon Lambert, make sure he's okay. The medical staff have just gone over to help him. He's wedged under that air fence.
He's moving around okay. I think it's just a case of extricating him. But, well, I wouldn't like to be the referee having to make the call on that one.
I mean, whatever happens, Gary Allen and Ben Barker are having an interesting night tonight, aren't they?
That's a toss of the coin job, that decision. As I said, the referee has got a different view to what we had there.
I'll be honest, on first viewing, I fear for Ben.
Yeah, that would, from what we could see, that would be my decision, as annoying to Ben as that would be. But
the gut feeling is I just worry for Ben here because it got very tight. It was right in front of us and they got very close. As you see Luke Harrison and Nathan Ablitt coming off the track.
I don't think there was contact, but Simon Lambert just ran out of room, didn't he?
Yeah, and Simon, quite rightly, is getting all the time in the world to get the treatment that he needs before he's back on his feet. Kyle Howarth just returning with his helmet and goggles as you see the sun setting in behind Ben too. There's Kyle, ex-Gladiators skipper, certainly enjoying a good return to the Coliseum with 8 points so far from his
I can't see any exclusion lights from here.
No, I think we're having a look at a replay at the moment.
Yeah.
I think Gary Allen's checking the replays before he makes his decision. It's right, he takes the time.
It's a tough
to have
call,
a look.
this one. Simon Lambert, great to see him on his feet. Very sporting round of applause from the Gladiators crowd.
And yeah, and it's right, and every rider gets a warm round of applause, but I think people appreciate just how committed a rider Simon Lambert is and how good he is to watch. And it's great to see him up on his feet, and hopefully there's no lasting damage as he walks back towards the pit area. Thumbs up to some people in the stands there, just checking on how he is.
Of course, it was the clash of the two captains there.
It was.
Barker and Lambert. Yeah, the referee's just been in the box next to us, just reviewing the footage.
As I say, my gut feeling is...
The conversation that Carl Howarth was having with him as he walks away suggests he might have excluded Simon Lambert, but I might be wrong.
I'd be a little bit surprised. Without seeing the replay, my first reaction is I'd fear a little bit for Ben, just because of how it's happened.
Whether he told Carl Howarth his decision there, whether he said wait until I get back to the box, I'm not sure. But Carl Howarth had a few words, didn't he?
Is Gary Allen trying a bit of theatre here, where we're going to wait and see the lights come on in true style? But I think we're not far off finding out potentially. Ben's having a discussion with Garry May in the pits, and he's walking back over this way. So I presume we're going to have a bit of track work. I'm not sure he's actually told the Scunthorpe team what the decision is, because David Howe's walked out onto the track to see what light comes on.
Ben Barker's walked out to...
This is all. It's all a bit theatrical, isn't it?
Is.
They're all coming out looking for which colour light comes on. And
I'm not sure Ben even knows at the moment. I think he's waiting as well.
I think the only person who knows what decision's coming here is Gary Allen. And we are now just waiting for that decision.
Is the announcement?
And the rider in red will be excluded for the cause of the stoppage. The ref has one to look at.
Ben is just down in front of us, got a rueful smile on his face. I think he probably knew what was coming there.
Yeah,
he's not. It's not an angry response from Ben. It's almost like a laughing, I can't believe it response, isn't it?
Yeah, I think if Ben's honest to himself, he probably expected the decision that came his way. As I say, without seeing the replay ourselves, that I do think that's what was going to happen. And here on Gladiators TV, we don't show the replays until the riders are up, but we're about to see it here. So this is what I'm talking about. There's not a lot of room between Palm, Toft and Lambert. Barker comes up the inside, or we might get a really good angle here.
He drifts, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? We'll have to see another clip, but it does look. I mean, Ben certainly pushed Simon wide. As we're going to have a closer look.
I just think he doesn't give Simon Lambert enough room here, does he?
I think there might be contact.
Yeah,
I think there might be contact between the back leg or the arm and the back wheel. But equally, even if the contact is minimal, Ben has given Simon nowhere to go.
I think if you showed that to 100 neutral people, I think probably 98 of them would say Ben was the one to be excluded. If you're a Gladiators fan, I'm sure you've got a different view on that.
And Ben will be frustrated because right now he feels like nothing's going his way.
Yeah.
He feels he's been excluded in 2 races, which he will feel that he doesn't deserve to be excluded in both. Unfortunately, in my opinion, as partisan a Gladiators fan as I am, I think Gary Allen has had very little, other than what he did in Heat 7, he had very little decision to make there. That one's a little bit tougher, but having seen that replay and trying to get as close to the monitor as I can without putting my nose through the screen, I do think it looks like there was contact. But I just can't believe how little room there is here between Palm, Toft and Lambert.
Palm, Toft
actually, that doesn't help the situation because Simon has to let off a little bit.
Yeah.
But you just see there, I don't think there's any doubt, the more we see it, that there is contact. And again, on balance, I think Gary Allen has come to the right decision. Now, Ben might not talk to me after tonight for saying that, but that's my feelings.
I think in both decisions, based on what Gary Allen was looking at, I think he couldn't have made any other decisions. And as someone who supports Plymouth, I'd like to sympathise with Ben, but I think the first one, as I said, the view he had of that well, Ben made the decision for him on that one. The second one, I just think Simon Lambert didn't have anywhere to go there, and it was just. And to be fair to the referee, he's come down into the box, had a look at the pictures from Gladiators TV on that second one. He didn't need to on the first one because Ben made the decision for him. But
he's done the right thing, Gary Allen. He took his time. He saw a couple of clips of it. Obviously, because we're a man down, we obviously had the one angle that he could look at, but I'm not sure there was too much more he could have done about it. And look, Ben's just got to put it behind him. He's got to come out in heat 15 or 13. Sorry, he'll probably be out in heat 15 as well, but he's got to come out in heat 13.
He's just having one of those nights.
He is,
isn't
and
he?
I think, as I say, when you look at his body language, when we had the camera on him, when we were all theatrically looking towards the lights on the home straight as to who it was going to be excluded, Ben had that rueful look on his face. I think he knew what was coming.
He knew what was coming, definitely.
And look, Ben's a hard racer, so Simon. They're both hard racers. They both leave everything out there, as we mentioned before the race, and that's why we thought this would be a really good contest.
And there was no animosity between the two of them there. They both knew it was just a racing incident. And
again, it's now down to Joe Thompson.
Yeah, second time
limitation.
tonight. He's on his own trying to reduce the damage, and again, it's a big job for him. He's got Michael Toft in white for the Scorpions in gate number 2. Then it's Joe Thompson in blue in gate 3, and then it's Simon Lambert, who's recovered from that fall there. He's in yellow for the Scorpions off gate 4. And well, rather like going into heat number 10 again, if the Scorpions get a heat advantage here, they're going to take some pulling back, aren't they?
They certainly are. And as I say, for Joe Thompson, if you're not going to win the race, it's going to have to be a 2-4. It's going to have to be a 4-2 in Scunthorpe's favour as the damage limitation. 5-1 for Scunthorpe here is bad news for Plymouth on the context of the fixture.
Ben Barker's come to watch the race just behind us again. As Michael Toft is looped at the start. That's a horrible fall when you land on your coccyx sort of area. I hope he's all right. He's in a bit of pain here.
Yeah, this is a nasty incident for Michael Toft. The bike's just got so much speed and grip coming off the start line.
Ouch.
That is a horrible moment for Michael. Thankfully, he's up.
Oh, no,
he's up and fine. He's getting a round of
he's back
applause
on his feet. That's great news, Spats.
He looked like he was in a lot of pain. I remember an incident a few years ago with Jason Crump where he lifted off the start line in a similar situation. We're just going to see it here. Tapes will fly up, the bike lifts, and unfortunately, it keeps lifting.
That's not a comfortable landing, is it?
No, that's a real hard landing, and thankfully, Michael's up and walks away from the incident.
I think he might need a good session of physio tomorrow after that.
Yeah, I mean, it hurt my back just looking at that. But, as I say, I seem to remember something similar happened to Jason Crump years ago when he rode here. There was a race where he lifted violently off the start line and ended up on his back
I remember
as well.
That, yeah.
But, the best thing there is Michael's up and away, and it's certainly a stop-start kind of evening. I think it's you and I, Nigel, that seem to lend to these stop-start kind of nights. But now we've got a really interesting race where it's Simon versus Joe.
It's a match race. It's a match race.
And all of a sudden, that damage limitation we talk about is really interesting here because it's either going to be a 3-2 or a 2-3.
Going back in the good old days, I used to love the old match races for the golden helmet and the silver helmet that they used to have at tracks, and that's what we got here, Joe Thompson and Simon Lambert.
Never short of entertainment down here at the Coliseum.
No.
Where else would you want to spend your Saturday night when you've got all this entertainment?
Well, this looked a great meeting on paper, didn't it, coming into it?
Look at poor Simon and the cleaning he's going to have to do after this, bless him.
And it's a dry night as well, but that's what happens when you bury yourself underneath the Coliseum fence.
I think, to be fair to Simon, he didn't bury himself. I think Ben might have put him there a little bit. But yeah, I see what you mean. And, this is going to be fun now.
Darren Thompson, Joe's dad, just... the bar bandits just shouting their encouragement, which Dad Darren has appreciated by applauding back.
They're trying to get behind him here, as they will do on Wednesday. A large contingent from the club got up on Wednesday. I think there are still a couple of seats available on the minibus.
Cheetahs,
the announcement's just gone out over the tannoy. So yeah, there'll be a strong Plymouth contingent at Oxford on Wednesday, but right now the scoreline's going to take a bit of a quirky look to it either way.
And as I say, given the way the Gladiators rode at Oxford in the BSN series, then that should be a really good meeting to go to, because they only lost that meeting, well, from a Plymouth point of view, you'd say they only lost that meeting by a harsh refereeing decision on a finish line incident with Dan Thompson.
I don't know what you mean.
It's
Simon Lambert versus Joe then. This should be fun. It is a match race, Ben. Well done. Ben Barker's come to join us.
Silver helmet match race. Remember this back in the 90s?
Yeah, I was just saying that to Joe about the golden helmet match races.
I done the bronze helmet at Wimbledon or Mildenhall back in, I don't know what year, 2003 maybe. I was chosen to do the bronze helmet at Mildenhall or Wimbledon. I can't remember.
Wow. No, that was they were fun, those.
Yeah.
You're talking about events in the 90s. I was born in 95, Ben.
No, 2003.
Oh, okay.
When I done it.
Okay.
If you got time to stick around after this race, we'd love to have a quick chat to you about the eventful evening you're having.
In the thick of it. Come on, Joe!
Let's get this race underway first. Joe Thompson v Simon Lambert. Joe Thompson leads. Simon Lambert hard on his heels, but it's Joe leading down that back straight. Great gate from Joe Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, that was Joe had the advantage. We mustn't forget that Joe was off 3, Simon was off 4. So for Simon to get across and lead this race, he had to be jet propelled out at the start and get around Joe. So Joe had the advantage. He's using it to his good steady here, and Joe's looking really good again. I'm pleased for Joe. He's having an excellent season. Now Simon is going to throw the kitchen sink and everything he's got with 1 lap to go, but right now Joe's looking comfortable, and fingers crossed it stays this way.
Yeah, Simon Lambert still putting the pressure on, but this is great riding from Joe Thompson, spurred on by that shout of encouragement from the Bar Bandits. He's leading the Scunthorpe skipper. He's going to make one last attempt round the outside, but Joe Thompson hangs on by about a bike length, and that's a 3-2 to the Gladiators, and that narrows the gap to just 1 point.
Yeah, the Plymouth crowd enjoyed that, and listen to the reaction of the crowd there. You know, everybody really got behind that, and great to see Joe get out in front and make it stick from the gate. As I said, he had that advantage being on the inside of Simon. Simon would always had to have gone around him to get to the lead, but Joe made the advantage of that start work brilliantly for him.
Fantastic win there in blue for Joe.
Let's just get confirmation of the race win, and then we'll just have a quick chat with Ben. So Joe Thompson, the race winner in blue. Simon Lambert, second in yellow. It's a 3-2 to the Gladiators, and it's 32 to Plymouth, 33 to Scunthorpe. So Ben, you've had a very interesting evening so far, and 2 decisions, which you know, everyone will have their views on. Let's go to the first one, Heat 7, where you were like the meat and the sandwich. What was your feeling on that one?
There's 2, you know, what am I meant to do? You know, I make the start, I move to the dirt. Jake Allen comes across me, I've cut back, got level with him going down the back straight. Connor Mountain has just squeezes up. It's racing, you know. I don't moan about racing like that because I'm willing to get stuck in and close racing. But I think the referee needs to look at that. It's totally knocked all my chains off. So there's been contact to my bike. Well, all I know is if that was in a GP or a televised meeting, they'd have all the different angles, and you'd look at that a different way because I was moved into. So, but it's racing, isn't it? You know, I've had a win, I've had an exclusion, I've had another exclusion. Let's finish it off with 2 wins.
What we were saying, because he only had that one angle, it would have been quite difficult to see what really happened to you there.
Oh, of course he would, you know. But then he comes down to me straight after the referee, and I'm wound up. You know what? Don't come and speak to me why I'm 200 miles an hour. Give me a minute, let me get my head right, and then we can have a conversation. Shouldn't be putting me, you know, especially every rider needs speaking to different. Some people need straight away and calm them down, or some people need just giving a minute to let themselves calm down, and that's what I need. You know, the referee coming down to me like that is not fair.
I got the sense with the second exclusion you kind of knew what was coming when Simon... Was there a little bit of contact with Simon as you went there into bend 2?
Yeah, the main problem with the contact with Simon was Tofty drilled him coming out of bends 4.
We did mention as they came up the straight here there was no room for them.
I would have been nowhere near Simon if Tofty didn't nail him, because he killed all his momentum. I wouldn't have been able to get up the inside of Simon. So the actual problem with that crash was Tofty nailing his own teammate. I mean, you got to be able to team ride in this day and age. But I mean, nailed his teammate, killed all his momentum, which allowed me to run up the inside. Oh, okay, Simon, I'm going to come up the inside of you, and then I'm going to let you come around me. Doesn't work like that, does it? You know, you've got to go where the fastest line is. You can look by the seat of the track. There's dirt out there, so we've got to get out there, you know? Simon said you caught my finger. That's what Simon said to me. I caught his finger. I mean, come on.
Just going back to the first one, I know it's heat of the moment, but I guess looking back, you're probably disappointed the way you sort of parked the bike in the track, or?
Do you know what? I am, but Joe stopped. Joe stopped because of the collision. Right, I'm team captain of the Plymouth Gladiators. I'm not team captain of Scunthorpe Scorpions. There was contact which caused me and Joe to stop in the race. So why shouldn't Joe have a rerun? Joe should have a rerun. I mean, he stopped because of the contact. He thought I was going in the fence.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, we would be now 3 points behind rather than 1 if I didn't do that, because we got a 4-2 out of that with stopping it. So at the end of the day, I'm in it for Plymouth.
Still a big scrap though, it's so close, isn't it, tonight?
Yeah, but we're here, we're fighting, you know. I think we're strong from here on in.
Reserve switch in the next, Joe coming in for Dan.
I'd imagine. Yeah, that'll be right. I mean, it's just what it is, isn't it? Joe coming in for who?
Joe's in for Jacob, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was thinking, come on.
Anyhow, we wish you all the best the rest of the evening, Ben. Hope your luck changes.
Cheers.
As I suspected, I think Gary Allen's just a little bit of a better politician than Ben Barker. But you can see his passion, you can see how much it means to him.
And fair play to him for coming up here and speaking to us, because you know, he's a top man to do that. You know, as we said, he had his own view on both of those incidents. We can only say from what we can see from the pictures we get. So
he had his view. For what it's worth, I disagree with him on both, but that's life.
Let's have a look at the lineup for Heat 12 and get back to this cracking meeting. It's the Thompson boys here in red. For Plymouth is Dan, in blue in Gate 1, in blue in Gate 3 is Joe, and they're up against Jake Allen in white for Scunthorpe, who's off Gate 4, and in Gate 2 is Nathan Ablitt, and as you said, it's Joe Thompson in for Jacob Hook as a reserve ride.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to get me over Ben's enthusiasm there in the interview. But look, you know, it's great to see the captain still got so much fire in his belly as we approach the end of the season. So that'll be a real plus for everybody. And this is a big one here for the Thompson twins. They've been strong all season for us. And this is Gary playing his ace in the pack, isn't it? This is him making this little tweak. It's nothing on Jacob, but he feels after that last race, Joe's got all the confidence. This could be what swings the meeting. And
what was interesting there, he almost said he didn't stop the race, get the race stopped so that he would get back in. He just felt that Joe Thompson deserved, because he'd slowed down because of the incident. So that's different to the way we were looking at it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wonder if that might be Ben being a little bit of a politician. But
yeah, maybe. Here we go, heat number 12. And it's the Thompson boys who are leading out front here. And Jake Allen going down the back straight. Oh, he just dropped back there. He thought about a challenge, but thought better of it. Still trying to go around the outside of Dan Thompson. But it's Joe continuing in his fantastic evening out front.
This is where we're going to see the best of Jake Allen. He's going to try and come up the inside of Dan Thompson. Dan needs to have a look really here. He's not had a look yet in the race, because Jake Allen is going to use every line that's available around the Coliseum. He's now going wide. He's going to try and throw it up the inside. Dan's going to have to be strong and resolute with a lap to go.
Yeah, it's Joe leading his twin brother Dan, coming into the last lap. The dust is flying here at the Coliseum at Jake Allen. Will he make one more attempt round the outside? It doesn't look like he will. It's going to be a 5-1 to the Gladiators. How crucial is that going to be in the final outcome? It's Joe in blue, Dan in red, and then it's Jake Allen in white with Nathan Ablitt in yellow at the back.
Yeah, I mean, you thought they made noise after Joe Thompson's winning the last. Listen to the noise they're making here. This is how important it is. Although the playoffs are a long shot, they're still in it to win every race. That was superb from the Thompson twins. Joe was brilliant out of the gate, and look at what it means to them as they come down the home straight here. Look what it means to the crowd in the NHS stand. What a moment for the pair of them. They do it so well around here. They are absolutely dynamite. It's great to have them at the club. And look, what a brilliant ride from the pair of them. And look, Mark Simmons, Ben Barker, Garry May straight out to greet them. Absolutely superb.
Joe's winning time 53.59.
53.59, the winning time for Joe Thompson in blue. His twin brother Dan second in red, Jake Allen in third, Nathan Ablitt in fourth. A 5-1 to the Gladiators, crucial at this stage in the meeting. It gives them a 37-34 lead with just 3 heats remaining, and in the next race, of course, we've got Ben Barker.
We certainly do. Let's watch this again, because from a Plymouth point of view, this is a really good watch. You're going to see Dan off 1, Joe off 3, Jake Allen. We keep saying it about gate 4. Every time you're on gate 4, you're going to have to cut across from the outside and try and stop the riders on your inside, because it's such a short run to that first bend. Dan lifting off the gate there. Joe was superb out of the gate. Now Dan tries to stick it up the inside. This is where Jake thinks about going around the outside, and there's just not enough room heading into bend 3. Now Jake's going to really wind it on. Dan Thompson has to stay strong towards the inside. Look at how wide Jake Allen's going in third. He tries to get up the inside here. Dan keeps to the inside, and Joe, meanwhile, Joe has the look there. He looks to make sure that it's his brother in behind, and they've done this so many times. They've team rode so many times, and that was brilliant from the pair of them. It really was. And I said it was Garry playing his ace in the pack going into that race. That may well be what swings this fixture.
2 happy Thompson boys there in the pits, just celebrating that 5-1. That must be fantastic, getting a 5-1 with your brother. That feeling must be very special.
Brilliant. And look, Dan's got 6, paid 7. Joe is on 11.
That's incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible.
He had a superb night last night. He's having an outstanding night tonight. The pair of them, you know, it was unlucky last year that we lost one to a shoulder injury just after we signed them. To have them both here this year, they're such great to watch around this track, and they're good at all tracks as well. Dan's having the season of his career so far. He's having an unbelievable year. And Joe's really coming on. You can just see a couple of little adjustments being made to one of the bikes there, but no, as you say, what a moment for the family as well, to see the 2 boys go out there in what was a crucial heat for the fixture, to go out there and do the job like that for their team. Superb.
You couldn't meet a nicer family either, but it's, yeah, I think even with 3 heats to go, I think the Rider of the Night trophy or award is already in the pocket of Joe, isn't it? He's to have 11 from 12, and he's had two races he's had to battle on his own as well. Yeah,
we'll have a look at it. See, this is a lot more even than it usually is on the wins. Gate 2's down on points, but look at that. 21 points and 4 wins off 4. 3 wins and 18 points off 3. 3 wins and 21 points off gate 1. You got 2 wins off gate 2. I didn't really appreciate Ben's dance in there. I think he should probably stop that on the home straight. But no, it shows that it's a really even track as well. And we've seen some really good racing tonight. The riders are committed. We've seen that because we've had a couple of incidents. It's been hard racing, but it's been good, entertaining racing. And when you come to Speedway, as long as everybody walks away from the night safe and sound, and you've seen racing like we have tonight, I actually think on a nice night with a good crowd in, this has been a really good advert.
Yeah, it certainly has. We're just having a tractor grade here at the moment. So let's look at those totals tonight. As we said, Joe Thompson out in front for the Gladiators with 11. Alfie BOWTELL has finished, and for the evening with paid 7. Dan Thompson has also got paid 7. He might come out in the nominated. Zach Cook with 5. Ben Barker, of course, only 1 finish. He won that race. He's got 3. Patrick Baek paid 4. I'd be pretty happy with that. I think Jacob Hook, again, he's got paid 4. Scunthorpe, well, they're fairly solid throughout. Carl Howarth leading the way with 8. Simon Lambert paid 8. Connor Mountain 6. Jake Allen paid 6, and Michael Palm Toft 4. And then the reserves, a bit like last night, they're getting outscored by the Gladiators reserves, just 4 points from Nathan Ablitt and Luke Harrison tonight. But to be honest, both of those two have impressed, haven't they? Ablitt and Harrison, they both had really good races.
Yeah, to be fair to Nathan, 1 point from 4 rides isn't a reflection of how he's gone. And Luke Harrison has impressed me.
There's Zach Cook. He's looking a bit happier after getting a second and a first after his disappointing Heat 1 outing, where he obviously had bike issues. In conversation with the Scorpions, Carl Howarth there. Garry May in conversation with the referee here.
Poor Garry Allen just wants to drink his coffee in peace, I think.
Well, you do wonder if there's a discussion there about, you know, what Ben did and possible further action. But Gary's putting his arm around, Garry May that is, putting his arm around Gary Allen. It's, he's had a busy evening, the referee, hasn't he?
He has, and it's all Ben Barker's fault. But no,
and as I said, what was brilliant, before the meeting, he had a meeting separately with the two individual teams, and him and Ben were engaged in quite a long conversation, which was obviously a very humorous conversation, because Gary Allen kept smiling and laughing. So it's almost fated in a way that those two have ended up being the.
Good to see Michael Toft looking okay after that nasty incident in the last
as I said,
ride.
He'll be sore in the morning, won't he?
He will.
To land on that base of your spine, it's not good, landing on the coccyx area. Connor Mountain, again, he's had a good solid evening, 6 points. He's still got a big part to play in Heat 14.
Simon Lambert looking a bit animated in his conversation with David Howe. They won't be too concerned at this point, I don't think, because it's still only 3 points, and they do have Michael Toft and Kyle Howarth out in the next.
Yeah.
So they will be really looking at it. Now, Ben Barker's just going to have a chat with Zach Cook at the pit gate as we watch Mark go around and put some water down, because if there's one thing Mark Phillips hates, it's dust.
Yeah.
He'll be looking to limit that for the rest of the night, but you can just see there the skipper having a chat with his guest number one.
Well, Ben's still got a crucial part to play in this, isn't he?
Yeah, so Zach. It's a big ride for Zach
They're
here.
both out in this one, but then Garry May will have the decision of, because now you're not limited by points, are you? You can pick any of your top 7, I think, for the nominated. So
let's not forget Zach, of course, started his career in the UK here at Plymouth, and has often gone quite well around here. He really improved in that season that he was here as well, and now does such a good job alongside his brother Ben up the road at Wimborne Road.
Let's just catch up on some action from a previous meeting while we're waiting for the start of the next race.
We've got Dan Thompson off of gate 1 here in red. We've got Luke Harrison off of gate 2 in yellow. We have got Jacob Hook off of gate 3 in blue, and Simon Lambert off of the outside in white. So here we go, away we go with heat number 12. And Dan Thompson's made a good start, but coming round the outside once again. Simon Lambert's made it round the outside. That's the first time that we've seen that. Simon Lambert went right round the outside, and he now leads. The first one to do so off of gate number 4, but look at Dan Thompson come up the inside. It's a brilliant ride from Dan Thompson. He forced his way through up the inside of Lambert, and he now leads. In that third place is Jacob Hook, so it's suddenly a 4-2. But Simon Lambert is not happy about that. He's going to have a go as this race progresses. So we've got 2 races in one here, because in that third place Jacob Hook has got the rider in yellow, Luke Harrison all over him, and now he's dived up the inside, so there really is a place to go overtaking going into bend 1. Luke Harrison's all over the back of him still on that third place. It is a win there for the rider in red. A win for Dan Thompson, Simon Lambert second, and Jacob Hook just clinging on to that third place. Brilliant racing there in heat number 12. So the results of heat 12, it was a win for Dan Thompson in red.
So there we are, action from a previous clash between these two sides. It's a bit of a team meeting, I think, just going on in the Gladiators pits. Patchett Baek there with Alfie BOWTELL, Zach Cook listening in. Ben Barker's just missed a call, just wandering away. It's,
I think he's heard quite a few of these team talks.
Yeah,
I'm not sure there's anything that they can tell him now that he's not already been told.
He's chilled now compared to how he was earlier.
Talking of chilled, Kyle Howarth looks pretty relaxed.
Yeah, sat next to Jake Allen there.
Having a good night is Kyle, as he often tends to do around here.
Yeah, he's got 8 out of 9, or 8 points out of a possible 9. It's
Gary Allen getting paid by the minute he's on the stream tonight.
Yes.
Very popular character, isn't he?
Having a chat with Darren Thompson, the Thompson twins' dad. I think he deserves a cup of tea or coffee, doesn't he?
He does, and it's actually quite nice to see the referees, allowing themselves to be on the stream. They don't want to be shut away in the referee's box. And I'm not sure we'll invite him up for an interview, but you know, it's.
So we've got the famous kids race here at the Coliseum, which is, well, this is the future of Speedway, as we always say. Look at the number of youngsters who've turned up during the school holidays. One, to watch the Speedway, two, to watch the kids race. I know my boys are always keen to take part in this, and I think one of my boys is actually down there. Oh no, he's behind me. You're not running tonight. But this, what an experience of these young lads, or young children I should say, not lads.
Yeah,
but,
I'll be brutally honest with you, I never fancied this. I'd have probably pulled up at about this point. I probably wouldn't have made it round, but no, it's oh, we've almost lost one on Ben. We almost lost one then on Ben too. But
yeah, it'd have been excluded there, I think.
Yeah, I don't know whether both of his feet touched the inside. But Ben Barker just watching on it. It's great to see the families here tonight, and there is such a big crowd in the Coliseum tonight, and so many of them are families, and young families at that. And, you know, as you say, these are the future of Plymouth Speedway.
Is that Mattie Bates?
I think it is Mattie, yeah.
Our team normally. He's just going around with his
making his way around.
Daughter.
We have a winner as he celebrates and almost falls over the finish line.
That was an Olympic finish, wasn't it?
It certainly was. Mattie's making his way round now. Maximus, who often tends to start going the wrong way round, has now consented to go the right way round.
Oh, Mattie's picked up a bit of a sprint now down that back straight.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit concerned Maximus might overtake him.
He's probably also worried that there's a time limit on the race and it needs to be finished. But yeah, great spectacle as always. And
I think one or two of Simon Lambert's friends or children may well have taken part themselves.
Yeah.
Because he was given a good clap there and thumbs up to a couple of the people as they came off the track. So
this is what Speedway needs, though, isn't it?
Youngsters
Youngsters turning up. This is how I started, not running around here, but my dad taking me to a Speedway meeting when I was, what was I, probably 9 or 10, I think, and you know, it gets you hooked, and you know, you end up being a passionate fan for the rest of your life. Let's cross to some more previous action from here at the Coliseum.
In gate 1 in white will be Jack Smith for the Scunthorpe Scorpions. Joe Thompson off of gate 2 in red. Off of gate 3 in yellow will be Luke Harrison, and Jacob Hook off the outside in blue here for the Gladiators. So heat number 2 looking good. We've got Jack Smith here on the inside, of course. He's come in for a few meetings for the Scorpions. So here we go then with heat number 2. So tapes up, away they go, and into the first turn. It is the rider in red, Joe Thompson at leads. He shuffles the pack over. He shuffles Luke Harrison wide. And that has allowed up the inside. That's allowed Jacob Hook up the inside. So that's a great ride there by the Gladiators. It's Thompson who leads. And now you can see Luke Harrison. He's riding up the inside of Jacob Hook. And he retakes that second place coming off of bend 2. So Luke Harrison, he looks fast in that second place. The rider in yellow, he does look very quick down the back straight as well. So what can Joe Thompson do? He's had a look over his shoulder. He now knows that Luke Harrison is nearby. So the last lap flag is being made ready, and Joe Thompson has got to try and keep Harrison at bay here. Harrison is much more quick going into this turn. He allows the bike to run wide, gathering speed up the back straight, but I think here Joe Thompson in red is going to have enough as they come around this final turn. It is a win for Joe Thompson.
Yeah, Joe Thompson winning in the knockout cup clash between these two sides back in April here at the Coliseum. That one finished 51-39 to the Gladiators. The Scorpions winning it by a big margin on aggregate. And of course, Joe Thompson won that race, and we've seen Joe Thompson win 3 more races tonight. Obviously the star man for the Gladiators so far, but he'll have a big part to play in Heat 14, won't he?
Despite being down 3 points on the night, the spirits are clearly very high in the Scunthorpe camp there. Simon Lambert having a good chat with Connor Mountain and Michael Palm Toft as we look at Maximus throwing sweets into the crowd, I think, into the NHS stand. There's Zach Cook, who'll be out here in red and off gate number 2. Big race coming up for him now. Obviously, his Pool Pirates are back down in 3 weeks today, I think.
The
24th.
Yeah,
I think
24th.
it's 3 weeks.
That's
isn't
right.
It? So
it's Glasgow.
Then next week.
Then it's a gap because of the Cardiff Grand Prix. Yeah. Then it's Poole, and then it's Oxford right at the end of the month.
Yes.
And of course, the British Youth round as well is in the middle of that. I think August the 13th, if memory serves me, here at the Coliseum.
David Howe on the phone.
It's ordering pizza, or it's
maybe Rob Godfrey on the other end.
yes.
Just offering some advice as he goes in to speak to Carl Howarth.
Patrick Beck due out in heat 14. I would think they'll stick with him. I don't think they'll go Jacob Hook.
I'm going to play Garry May bingo and suggest Jacob might come out.
Right, okay.
It's just my gut.
Yeah.
But obviously we'll have to wait and see. It would be good to see Patrick get a fourth ride because he's on 3, paid 4. It's not been a bad debut for him, but equally it is only his second fixture, so you've got to keep your eye on.
Well, they took him out after 3 rides up at Scunthorpe, didn't they? But he's had a better night tonight than he did up at the Eddie Wright Raceway.
And the one thing that strikes me about having interviewed him beforehand and just seeing his general demeanour in and around the pits, and just there when he was interviewed by the track announcer here at the Coliseum, is he's a jolly character. He's always got a smile on his face. I think he's just really enjoying being now in British Speedway, and hopefully this is the start of a long career in British Speedway.
Just while we got the little wait to the start of Heat 13, obviously the British Grand Prix coming up at Cardiff, obviously always a big event to look forward to. Obviously we've had the Speedway Nations recently, which Team Great Britain won, and we got 4 Brits, I think, riding hopefully at Cardiff. We're waiting to see if Ty Woffenden's going to be fit. I can't even believe he's contemplating it. The fact that he's got a seriously broken elbow and he's still talking about riding in Cardiff is just incredible.
Somebody sent me the picture, and I don't know how these Speedway riders do it, of his injury, because, I mean, it's how they managed to get on the bikes in the first case, but also to then even consider coming back so soon after that is quite strange. Just a quick update very quickly before we get back going. Baek are ahead by 2 on the night against Oxford, 40 points to 38, and they've got 2 heats to go. They're just about to start heat 14, but unfortunately for Baek, they are 14 points behind on.
They are just above Gladiators in the table though, so if they picked up a win, then Plymouth would still be behind Baek. Of course, Zach Cook out in this one, he'd be very keen for the Gladiators to win this match, because obviously Scunthorpe are second behind Poole, so not just wanting to do the job for Plymouth, but he'll be wanting to do the job for his Poole Pirates side as well. So we are about to get underway with Heat 13, and what a tasty looking heat this one is. And that man Ben Barker out again. The pantomime villain tonight in a way, isn't he? But,
certainly for Gary Allen,
yes.
He is. My prediction is, I'm willing to put my head on the block here, this will be box office.
Yeah. Michael Palm Toft, good to see he's okay again after his looping at the gate. He will be when he comes round. He's in white off gate 1 for the Scorpions. Zach Cook, the Gladiators guest, in red off gate 2. In gate 3, Carl Howarth, last season's Gladiators skipper, in yellow off gate 3, and that man Ben Barker, the Gladiators current skipper.
I think Michael Palmtoft might have an issue with his bike. He's had to come back to the pit exit, and David Howe's gone sprinting into the pit.
We don't have a countdown clock here, do we?
No. I think there's one, but it's down by the start line.
Oh right, so we can't see that one. It's
but we'll get an announcement in a minute to tell us how far away he is. But he's definitely not happy with something. As Nathan
Ablitt's brought a bike out.
A bike.
He obviously thinks there's a bit of time, because otherwise he'd be getting straight on Nathan Ablitt's bike. 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
He's going to be all right. He's got to be right round though. He can't be drifting round.
Can't have a Tobias Thompson drifting across the infield either.
So yeah, he's fully aware of that. He's making his way swiftly round to the start line. So Michael Palmtoft will be all right to start off gate 1. So
and thankfully it doesn't take 30 seconds to get to the start line at Plymouth.
No. Zach Cook and Ben Barker for the Gladiators. Michael Palmtoft and Carl Howarth for the Scorpions. This should be a cracker. Heat 13. And what a gate there from Ben Barker, taking the lead, and he's got Zach Cook following up behind. 5-1 for the Gladiators at the moment, but Carl Howarth is going to have something to say about this.
That looked like the start of the night from Ben Barker. That looked absolutely to a precisional point. He was superb getting out the gate. Zach Cook has slotted in seamlessly into second place here and is doing a good job of keeping a fast Kyle Howarth behind, who's throwing everything at Zach Cook. Michael Toft's bike problems continue. 1 lap to go. Can they bring on the 5-1?
Yeah, Barker leading the way here. Zach Cook, as I said, he'll be loving this, doing a favour for the Pool Pirates. But Carl Howarth hasn't given up the fight here. He's keeping Cook honest going down that back straight. But it is going to be a 5-1 to the Gladiators. And well done, Ben Barker. Hats off to him. 2 exclusions tonight. It's not been his night at all. But he comes back with a race win, and that's crucial for the Gladiators' hopes.
You thought Alfie BOWTELL celebrated earlier. You watch Ben Barker come round here. He has enjoyed every single second of this, and he's going to enjoy every single second of this. Credit to Zach Cook as well for his efforts there, bringing home the maximum. Ben Barker's about to come up to the home straight stand here. Good fist bump from Ben. He really enjoyed that. He's only completed 2 races. He's technically on a maximum, surely.
Standing ovation from the home straight crowd there, but 53.29 for Ben Barker. Typical of him to bounce back in that fashion. First in blue, second in red, Zach Cook. Carl Howarth making them fight all the way. They're coming home third in yellow, and Michael Toft, he did eventually finish the race, but he obviously had some sort of bike issues coming in last. Crucial 5-1 to the Gladiators. They've now opened up a 7-point gap with 2 races to go. It's Plymouth 42, Scunthorpe 35.
It's getting to the point where I'm going to stop filling out my programme in a minute because it's covered in dust, but what a brilliant ride from the pair of them. We're going to see it here. This is what I'm on about a precision start from Ben Barker. He was bang on the money here as Gary Allen releases the tapes. Just watch this here from Ben Barker. Green light comes on and away he goes. Maybe just a little jump from Ben, but it was minimal, but away he's gone. And Zach Cook there, he knew exactly where he was going to put his bike. Kyle Howarth had no opportunity to go round him, and from there really Kyle's playing catch up, and Zach Cook rode an almost perfect line in behind Ben Barker. I thought Ben might have tried to go a little bit wider. I thought, he was up here talking about how he wants to, people are starting to go wide, and yet Ben starts to the inside. So you do you, Ben, you know what you're doing. But it's just brilliant from the pair of them, and again, we heard the reaction from the crowd. There was a big cheer when they crossed the line and went round. Ben really enjoyed that. Kyle kept Zach Cook honest but couldn't quite get to him, and Michael Toft's bike problems unfortunately plagued him there.
Talking of Carl Howarth, David Howe striking straight away the first time tonight that Scunthorpe have been 6 points behind, and they're bringing Carl Howarth in as a tactical substitute in yellow for Luke Harrison. So they pretty much need 2 5-1s, don't they, to take away the points here. They're 7 behind with 2 races to go. Obviously they picked up the aggregate bonus point already. So Carl Howarth and Connor Mountain need to get a 5-1 over what we think will be Patrick Baek and Joe Thompson. But
Patrick's just having a chat with Mark Phillips.
Yeah. So as you thought, Joe, it's Jacob Hook in red.
I will now confess why I played Garry MAY bingo is because when the interval was going on, Jacob had his helmet with him with a red hat on it.
All right.
So I kind of had an idea that was bingo. It's a shame. It's a shame for Patrick. I'd have really liked to see him.
Are you good at poker?
I was at, if I didn't see that already, I would think that's a direct response to maybe them bringing out Kyle Howarth.
Yeah.
Maybe now, perhaps Patrick could have stayed in, but look, Gary knows what he's doing.
There's Mark Phillips, the hard-working Gladiators promoter. I'm sure he doesn't give much emotion away on his face, but I'm sure he's a very happy man tonight. The track's gone well. With all the weather problems we've had this year, the track has ridden really well.
There's 3 things. He'll be happy with the crowd because it's a very good crowd. It's an enthusiastic crowd. 2, he'll be happy that his team are winning. I'm not sure he'll be happy about the dust. I'd imagine he'll grab the microphone off Larry at the end of the meeting and say about the dust. There's the Bar Bandits. As I mentioned, I will be part of the group that's going up on the minibus on Wednesday as we head to Oxford, hoping to just try and roar the team on as best we can. We were there at Poole on that tough night a few weeks ago, and it was a real tough night, losing Nico and Kyle, but we will be there on Wednesday. We look forward to seeing all the Oxford Cheetah supporters there. It's always a good reception that we get, so look forward to that, and they're certainly getting behind the team, as are at all 4 corners of the Coliseum tonight. The Colin Hill stand, you know, you've got the stand here by the bar, you've got the NHS stand as well. Everybody's getting right behind the team. But at the moment, we need some Gladiators riders at the start.
We do, and as I said, simple equation here for the Scorpions. They need to get a 5-1 through Connor Mountain and Carl Howarth to keep this meeting alive and keep up the pressure on Paul at the top of the table. And Gladiators riders just making their way round to the start, so no dramas there. So we have got in blue Joe Thompson, 3 wins out of 4 tonight. He's off gate 1 for the Gladiators. In white it's Connor Mountain for the Scorpions. In red, in a reserve ride coming in for Patrick Baek is Jacob Hook for the Gladiators in gate number 3, and in gate 4 it's Kyle Howarth coming in as the tactical substitute for Luke Harrison in yellow. So we're just looking for Joe or Jacob to get a second place here. So they'll be hoping for more than just a second place, but that's basically what they need to do.
Everybody dance now is blaring out the tannoy. I reckon everybody will dance if this results in a heat advantage to the Gladiators, because this will, as you say, to beat second in the league, it's a big result.
Off the back of the win over Edinburgh as well a month ago here. So here we go for heat number 14. Carl Howarth and Connor Mountain have made a great start there, and the Scorpions are delivering what they need at the moment with a 5-1, but Jacob Hook trying to go around the outside of Connor Mountain. Mountain just about holding on.
Jacob's going to throw everything. He has done so far tonight, and he's not going to stop now. Connor Mountain was really intelligent there as he went into bends 3 and 4. He knew he had an idea where Jacob was going to go. Carl Howarth, no surprise, coming in as attack sub. He's away and gone. Joe Thompson a little bit surprised at the fact that he's off the pace a little bit. What can Jacob do? Because a 5-1 sets his up tantalisingly for heat 15.
Yes, Carl Howarth and Connor Mountain doing a fantastic job for the Scorpions here as the dust really flies around the Coliseum. It's almost hard to see the riders at the moment, but it's Carl Howarth who takes the checkered flag. It's yellow, white, red, blue, and that sets up a last heat decider, and in a way that's fitting for this meeting.
It is, yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to pick all the dirt out of my hair that I've got in me at the moment, but no, that was superb from Carl Howarth. Absolutely brilliant from him. He's going to go straight into the pits. He doesn't want any talking, and Connor Mountain's going straight in as well. I think there's going to be a rousing team talk here for the Scorpions with 1 heat to go.
So Carl Howarth, the race winner there in yellow in a time of 55.44. Second, Connor Mountain sealing that 5-1 for the Scorpions. Third was Jacob Hook. Joe Thompson missing out this time at the back in 4th. So a crucial 5-1 for the Scorpions, cutting that gap to just 3 points, 43 points to 40. And we've got a thrilling last heat decider. And the hardest job for both team managers is going to be, who do you pick?
I was just thinking, what we've got now is we've got a tantalisingly tense meeting. You can see David Howe there having a big discussion as to who's coming into Heat 15 here. This is a really tough decision, I think, for both team managers. Now, for Scunthorpe, it's a little bit easier because Carl Howarth's a certainty.
Yeah.
Howarth will be out in 15. It's who joins him. Is it Connor Mountain, who's had a really good night? Do they go back to Palm Toft? I'll be a little bit surprised after his bike troubles and that fall. Could Jake Allen come in? Jake's looking quit.
Simon Lambert.
Simon Lambert's another one. Now, for Plymouth, it's a little bit more complex.
Yes.
Because,
to put it mildly,
you've got Ben Barker, who's had 4 rides, but only completed 2, and he's looked superb in both, but he's been excluded twice. You've got Zach Cook, who I would imagine comes in here. I'd be surprised if Zach Cook doesn't come in. And then who else? Joe Thompson's had a very good night up to that point. Dan Thompson's had a good night so far as well. I think this is where Gary's going to earn his money. As I say, I think Zach Cook will be one of the 2. I just wouldn't want to predict who the second one will be.
I would go, I'd put without looking at what's going on in the pits, I'd go Cook, Barker, Mountain and Howarth. That's the 4, I think.
What gates are Scunthorpe picking then? Why not? 4 and 2, surely.
Yeah, well, they just did the business off 2 and 4, didn't they?
Because, as you say, if you can get Howarth to gate,
Zach doesn't look like he's getting ready for a race, so maybe it's Dan Thompson and Ben Barker. Let's have a look. Well, none of them are at the moment. Maybe they're still.
Gary's having a chat.
There's no helmets going on anywhere at the moment.
No.
So
no, we're in no rush, I don't think, here.
Surely Zach will be one of them.
I would have thought Zach would have to come out.
He's been mixing it with the best in the top flight. As I said, he'd be highly motivated because he wants to.
Well, he's going to have a chat with Gary. I'm guessing now Zach's going to be in, so I'm guessing now.
I'd go Ben.
They'll be trying to work out what a Scunthorpe going to do gate choice wise. We saw on the statistics that gate 2 up to this point probably hasn't been the stronger gate, but you know off heat 4. So if you can gate off 4 and come across, you've done half the job, and then all you need is your teammate to follow you through.
So the last 2 races have been 5-1s off gates 2 and 4. Heat 12 was
I think you're right with Mountain.
Yeah, I'd go Mountain and Howarth.
I think it's Mountain. There was a big discussion there. Lambert, Ablitt, Mountain and Howarth were in the conversation.
Mountain, Howarth, Cook and Barker is what I'd go with.
Well, Mountain's getting ready. So Connor Mountain is...
Well, it's got to be Howarth. It's got to be Mountain and Howarth.
Yeah, and then, as I say, then the only decision for Scunthorpe is what gates do they choose.
Yeah, it's got to be 2 and 4, I think. The last 2 races have been one off 2 and 4. Or first and second off 2 and 4. Carl Howarth's definitely coming out. He's having his bike prepared, so that sorts out the Scorpions side of things.
It's been a while.
Zach Cook's got a red helmet on, so that one's.
It's been a while since we had a last heat decider at the Coliseum.
Is it going to be Ben Barker?
He's getting his goggles sorted.
I'm not sure it's going to be Ben Barker.
Give us an idea, Ben.
Taking his glasses off.
The
helmet's coming on.
Ben's in. Right, so we now think, we don't know for sure, it's not yet confirmed, but we now think it looks like it'll be Cook, Barker, Mountain and Howarth. I'm sure Larry will confirm it to us in due course.
Yeah, that's what we're going with.
Zach Cook's definitely got his red helmet on, so he's coming out in red. He's going to make his way straight. Look at him, look, he's coming out. Don't have to worry about the track, Zach. We've not had any track work done before 15
and this 2 points could be crucial for Scunthorpe, couldn't it? In the final mix-up for top 4.
I noticed in the preview for yesterday's meeting, Rob Godfrey was talking about, which route into the playoffs do they want, and that does play a part. Of course, they're going to go into it wanting to win every meeting.
Yeah.
But equally, you get to a stage of the season where you start trying to look, right, where do we want to go? Who do you want to play? And it happens in every sport. It's the same in football, American football. You get to the end of the season, cricket even, and you try and work out your best route to give you the best opportunities.
Looks like Connor Mountain's in white, I think.
Yeah, so it'll be, I'm guessing, Howarth in yellow.
So it'll be Cook, Barker, Mountain and Howarth.
Howarth is in yellow.
Yeah.
So then here's your lineup for heat number 15 for your Gladiators. In red will be Zach Cook.
And we are assuming that Scunthorpe will take 2 and 4, but we'll just get confirmation of that.
Scorpions will be Connor Mountain and in yellow Kyle Howarth. Gladiators fans, there's here for Zach Cook and Ben Barker.
Well, this is a fitting climax to what's been a fabulous meeting.
It has. Zach Cook is going to 1 by the looks of it.
Yeah, 2 and 4.
Yeah.
For, you think having just got a 5-1 off 2 and 4, it would have been amazing if they'd gone any other way.
Yeah. But as you say, this is a fitting end to what has been a great advert for Championship Speedway, I think. Good crowd, great weather, track's been in decent shape. We've had some good, hard racing. And let's hope that we have a fitting finale.
So, here we go. What a mouth-watering prospect this is. Zach Cook in red, guesting for Plymouth tonight, but doing the business. He's the Gladiator off gate 1. In gate 2, we've got Connor Mountain for the Scorpions in white. Gate 3, Ben Barker, 2 wins and 2 exclusions tonight. He's the Plymouth skipper in blue. And, of course, gate 4, as I said, last season's Gladiator skipper, Carl Howarth. And, of course, Mountain and Howarth just got a 5-1 to set up this last heat decider against Cook and Barker, who got a 5-1 in the race before.
I sense if you've seen Ben Barker celebrate before, if this goes our way, we might see a new level of celebrations. But here we go. Let's hope it's clean, it's safe, but let's hope for a good hard contest.
Scorpions need a 5-1 to take the points. Barker's gated. Connor Mountain didn't go anywhere off the start there. Carl Howarth chasing Barker down that back straight. Barker leading into bends 3 and 4. In third place, crucially, is Zach Cook as well, and Barker holding out in front.
Here we go then. Kyle Howarth versus Ben Barker. They were teammates last year. Their opponents here. Barker's showing him the way. Zach Cook just sorts of squares himself up, but he's still got the pace. This is going to be a really good one. There's not a huge amount between them. Connor Mountain's trying everything, but Ben's holding Kyle, and at the moment that's all they need. Mountain's down. Oh, it's a horrible crash. Horrible incident. The red lights are on straight away. Straight away the red lights come on. That was a horrible moment for Connor Mountain on Ben 3.
Oh, that was a nasty one. He's moving. He's trying to sit up, but I mean, it was hard to see through the dust, but that looked a bit of a spectacular crash there for Connor Mountain. He was doing his best to close the gap on Zach Cook in third place, but well, it is going to be rerun with Connor Mountain excluded. So, well, that confirms. Well, unless the 2 Gladiators riders drop out, it confirms the Plymouth victory, but not nice circumstances that, and we wish all the best to Connor Mountain.
I think Ben's just been told it's a rerun, and I don't think he was too amused. But all that matters at the moment is that Connor Mountain gets up and is fine, because I was watching them come around bend 3 and 4, and I could see in the back of my vision that Connor Mountain was in a bit of trouble going into bend 3. I think it was a similar case to earlier where there was just a bit of grip picked up, and the bike, as I say, we're not going to see a replay until we know Connor's fine, and even then we might just keep going, because I think they want to get this on. But Connor just seemed to square up, and the bike came from underneath him. He's still getting medical treatment over there. I saw Simon Lambert's gone over, but Alfie BOWTELL's gone over as well to check on him.
Yeah, we won't be getting a replay of that one. But
no, it's right, because it did look like a nasty crash.
He just disappeared in a cloud of dust from all I could see from our vantage point. So very hard. David Howe just running back to the pit. Oh, that's good news. Great to see. He's ridden very well tonight, and he's walking back as well. So that's fabulous news for Connor Mountain and the Scorpions fans.
Yeah, the best thing and the only thing that matters is that Connor's walked away from that, because it did look a nasty crash. And we were going on to lap 4, weren't we? And we're going to have it rerun. I'm guessing we're having it rerun because of the stage of the meeting we're at. And as you say, you know, if both the Gladiators suffer mistakes, then it could still be a 3-all and we'd have a superheat. And that's it. But as we come into, you can see Ben's leg trailing out in front. He's gone. Kyle's trying everything. Zach Cook looks quite comfortable in third. Connor Mountain at the back. It's all looking fairly comfortable at the moment for the Gladiators in terms of winning the fixture. Ben's looking good out in front with Kyle slightly second. Zach.
Yeah,
it spins around and then it locks and it throws him over there.
Yeah,
it's great that he's walked away from that, because
it's an uncomfortable fall, wasn't it? But
and all it is his back wheel spins him around, and then his front wheel locks. He goes over the top, but he's making his way back slowly, and he did get a nice round of applause as he got up, because he's had a very good night, and there's another round of applause coming from the NHS stand, because he's had a good night. I
am surprised this is being rerun, I've got to be honest.
I can only guess it's because of the stage of the night we're at, and as you say, if the 2 Gladiators suffer bike troubles, we're then 43 apiece going into a superheat, aren't we? I know it's a long shot.
My argument would be, if this had happened at any other heat of the evening, that would have been awarded. So why should the fact it's heat 15? I don't see, you know, Gladiators were, even if Carl Howarth had got through and made it a 3-3, it wouldn't have made any difference to the scoreline or the aggregate. So I'm not sure.
I'd imagine Gary's had a phone call with Gary Allen just to find out why are we going back out. But look, we're here to watch. We're here to watch racing, and
if
they're going to go out.
We've got another cracking race to come. We'll be all for that. Yeah, Gate 4 on the gate stats, 6 wins from the 14 races, 43%. And then the other 3 are all pretty even. 2 off gate 2, 3 off gate 1 and 3 off gate 3. 27 points coming from that outside gate as well.
Ben's getting ready. He was a little bit surprised that it's going to be rerun, but he's...
Well, hope for Ben's sake that he can do the business again, because after the night he's had, he deserves that in a way, though. Carl Howarth again has also had an excellent evening for the Scorpions.
It's just been a good advert for Championship Speedway, and as we approach 9:15, the light begins to fade. We're at that time of year again, aren't we?
And that's what's great about the Championship, particularly this season as well, that maybe by reducing the average this season, the team average, but there's not masses between bottom and top in this league, is there?
No, there isn't.
Last year there were 3 or 4 teams that were pretty much cast aside from the top 5 or 6, but this year, by reducing that team average, even though that was controversial at the time, it has made it a much more, as I said, Plymouth at bottom, and they're only 5 points off the playoffs.
Yeah.
If they win this, well, they have won it, barring 2 riders dropping out, then it keeps them in contention.
Certainly does, and as I said before the fixture, for Gary, Ben and the boys now, it's just about winning as many matches as you can, and then, who knows what luck might fall your way in a couple of those away fixtures.
Carl Howarth won't want to lose this one, will he?
No.
He's having been behind Ben in that last one, he's going to be very keen to pick up a win in this
But again,
one.
the two Gladiators have the advantage because they're on the inside.
Zach Cook in red off gate 1 for the Gladiators, Ben Barker in gate 3 for the Gladiators in blue, and then it's Carl Howarth in yellow for the Scorpions in gate 4. So, not an anti-climax, it would have been nice to finish the meeting with a 4-rider race that came to a conclusion, but obviously
we might still have something to come yet. I hope not, because you want it. I mean, actually, I kind of hope it does go to a superheat, because then it's great entertainment. But I'm a Plymouth fan.
Well, the way
I
this
want Plymouth to win.
The way this meeting has gone, you wouldn't be the least bit surprised if 2 Gladiators suffered engine failures or something. Here we go, heat 15. Carl Howarth has got there this time. Ahead of Ben Barker. I knew he really wouldn't want to lose to Barker again this evening, and Carl Howarth is doing the business, but Barker will track him hard for the full 4 laps here.
Why should we sound surprised? He learned his mistake from that first run-in. He got out and he's gone. Kyle Howarth is showing exactly what we saw in large parts of last season around here. He is superb when he gets out in front. He's really turning it on. For the Gladiator boys now, it's about bringing it home. A 3-all here would make it 46-43. That would do them for the 2 points. But Kyle Howarth, a superb ride in 15.
Yeah, he's always so stylish, isn't he, when he's out the front, Carl Howarth. He's a real great guy to watch, and he's entertaining when he's behind as well. Carl Howarth taking the checkered flag for the Scorpions, and it's Ben Barker and Zach Cook bringing up behind him. So it's yellow, blue, red. And,
yeah, superb. Superb from Kyle, a superb meeting. It was with hard racing. I think we might have put the mockers on it, because I think Zach Cook actually did suffer bike problems there on lap 4. He had to coast around, unfortunately. He spent a lot of time looking down at his equipment. But Kyle Howarth, superb tonight.
So Howarth it is, who's won in yellow. Ben Barker second in blue. Zach Cook third in red. So it's a 3-3, giving us the final score this evening of Plymouth Gladiators 46, Scunthorpe Scorpions 43. The aggregate score, a massive 105-74 to the Scorpions, but the Gladiators will just relish that 2 points that, depending on what's happened at Berwick, whether it lifts them off the bottom of the table or not tonight, but they will be delighted to beat second in the table Scorpions on an evening really where Speedway's been the winner. I know that's a cliche, but I'm sure Scorpions fans who've been watching this have enjoyed it as much as we have. The scores tonight: Joe Thompson topping the table for the Gladiators with 11, Zach Cook and Ben Barker getting 8 apiece, Alfie BOWTELL and Dan Thompson 6 apiece, and it's Jacob Hook on 4, Patrick Baek on 3. The Scorpions, Carl Howarth, 15-point maximum last night, 15 from 6 rides tonight. What a great couple of nights for him. Connor Manson with 8, good to see he's okay after that crash. Simon Lambert on 7, and then it's Jake Allen with 5, Michael Palm Toft with 4, Luke Harrison with 3, and Nathan Ablitt with 1. As we said earlier, both of those two deserved a little bit more for their efforts tonight, but 2 points for the Gladiators, 1 bonus point for the Scorpions, and the season progresses to what should be a thrilling finale to the Cab Direct Championship as we head towards the playoffs. Plymouth just getting on the tractor, ready for their lap of honour. Jacob Hook is the man in the Aussie style cap, I would suggest. Alfie BOWTELL sat next to him. But they've been pretty solid throughout, haven't they, Plymouth? It's been a good team effort. Our next action is next Wednesday, or not for Gladiators TV, but Oxford versus the Gladiators. Cab Direct Championship is next Wednesday evening, and the live stream there is on Oxford Speedway TV. And then the next one here is next Saturday. It's the visit of the Glasgow Tigers. Chris Harris, who's always a huge crowd puller, he will be riding here next week. Former Gladiator rider James Pearson should be in action as well, so that should be another mouth-watering battle. Glasgow, another team battling it out just outside the playoff zone at the moment, but they'll be eager to come down here and get the points. So do join us for that one on Gladiators TV. And Mark Phillips, great to see him joining the victory truck, going round, taking the plaudits of the big crowd here at the Coliseum this evening. And I'm sure anyone here tonight will be desperate to come back again, Joe.
Yeah, it's been a great advert for Championship Speedway, but Speedway in Britain. We've had a good crowd. We've had a really good... The track's been in decent shape. I don't think there's been too many problems with the track. There's been great weather, and we've seen some really, really entertaining racing. You know...
Yeah, thank you so much to Paul, the cameraman, who's been having a race between taking the shots up here on the gantry and down in the pitch. Done an absolutely cracking job on his own this evening, so thank you, Paul. And the tractor just making its way around towards the bar where the bar bandits are, and they're going to get a massive cheer.
They certainly are, and I'll go join them when we're off air, just to have a chat with them, and we'll all be up there on Wednesday night at Oxford, hoping to see another really positive performance, because that's what tonight's been. And Garry May needs to be really proud of that effort tonight. We didn't mention this before Heat 15. He should be really proud, because that's a full-strength Scunthorpe team who are second in the league.
Thank you so much, Joe, for all your help this evening. Thoroughly enjoyable evening. We hope you've all enjoyed it at home. Thank you for joining us on Gladiators TV, and we wish you a very good evening.